Chapter 1612. Murongning, Jiang Feng, Liao Ju, these were definitely top-notch figures. The familiar ones from overseas were by Sin, number 9, and Fierce White Tiger from WWE. Slightly below them were the sect leaders of the 6 great sections. Other than Amei's sect leader who was eliminated by him, Qingqing's sect leader, the ambitious Wang Zhini was also here. Long Bailey, the brainless leader of the Kongtong sect, also participated. Other than that, Kunlun sect leader, Miao Qin was also here. Shaolin martial fanatic, Master Yu Su was also here. Wudang sect leader Wu Jizi was a plain person, so he did not come, but his junior brother Wu Yangzi came. This Wu Yangzi was more ambitious than his senior brother, he was a bit like Qingqing Wang Zhini. But Wu Yangzi seemed to be the same as Amei's sect leader, they were both unlucky and were actually eliminated in top 32. Who is this brother? Li Fan saw an unfamiliar name, Niu Shuyan, sect leader of heroic martial sect. Where did this guy come from? Dark Horse. Li Fan could not understand. From the name list on the screen, it seemed like this guy eliminated Wu Yangzi in top 32. Other than them, Luo Shuawu and Long Fangyu were also here. Long Fangyu and Long Bailey were brothers. In this martial competition, the two of them would most likely join hands again. Other than that, Li Fan also paid attention to 2 other people. One was his 7 hero sect's representative, Wang Yuer. And the other was actually the devil sect Saintess. Good heavens, this woman who had some fate with me actually dared to come out. And she even directly announced my name, Saintess of Solipsism. Could it be that she also came for the 3rd page of the True Immortal Arts? Speaking of Saintess, Li Fan thought of his sworn brother, Lu Zhu. He did not know if it was because Saintess was going to participate in the martial competition, but Lu Zhu actually took a leave of absence and left Li Family Island to go to the mainland. Sigh, this brother of mine is good in every aspect, but he could not give up on the only I Supreme sect. The Saintess had eliminated Wang Yuer. Although this little girl had improved a lot, her combat experience was still not rich enough. This was also a form of training for her. After all, it wouldn't be good for her to enter the top 16. 7 Chivalry Villa. The name of this sect didn't seem suitable to appear in China anymore. Sigh. There was also Liang Ru. That little girl had also charged through thousands of men and horses and fought her way into the top 16. In this way, there were himself, Murongning, Jiang Feng, Liao Ju, Bai Xin, number 9, Wang Zhini, Long Bailey, Miao Qin, Yu Su, Niu Shuyan, Luo Shuawu, Long Fangyu, White Tiger, Saintess, and Liang Ru. Although it was an international competition, only 3 foreigners made it to the top 16. Moreover, one of them was his clone, a real Huaxia descendant. This was probably a slap in the face for the West. This list of the top 16 is quite well deserved. This list was not much different from what Li Fan had expected, except for Niu Shuyan, who was a little surprising. Darling, you're amazing. You actually made it to the top 16. You're worthy of being the man I admire. Teresa was about to stick to him again, but Li Fan hurriedly pushed her away. Have you mastered your true qi? Why are you sticking to me? Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This woman was about to become a dog skin plaster. Isn't it because you're too attractive? Teresa was not shy at all, you're my sweetheart. Stop, we're not the same kind of people. We definitely can't go together. There's no need to go together. As long as I can enjoy the remaining 2 days with you, it's fine. Teresa said generously, romance is, after all, short-lived. I won't ask for too long. These words sounded especially romantic, but wasn't it just a one-night stand? Alright, If you're willing, I can accompany you for these 2 days and teach you some martial arts. But let's not talk about the matters of the heart. Li Fan pointed to the arena below. In my heart, there's only this martial arts tournament. He's very important to me and even to the future of the entire human race. Is it that exaggerated? Teresa was a little surprised. A martial arts alliance leader? I don't even understand this concept. What exactly is an alliance leader? Alliance leader is just a title. Although this is important, the reward is more important. 1 million. That's not a lot. For a great expert like you, do you still lack money? Li Fan didn't know how to explain. At this time, his phone's WeChat rang. He opened it and saw that it was a message from Lu Bufan. Junior brother, where are you? Come out and drink with me. Damn it, I actually lost. Who did you meet? Li Fan had forgotten to pay attention to his cheap senior brother. Damn it, I met that American Emperor's number 9. This kid is strange, he sent me flying with 1 kick. He's so strong, and he didn't rely on his inner force. What the hell? Lu Bufan complained, come on, drink with me. It's my treat. No. I still have to participate in the next competition, damn it, you're so lucky. Lu Bufan couldn't help but shout, making it to the top 16, not bad. Unfortunately, the next ones are real experts. If you don't make it to the top 8, there's no prize money. Sigh. Lu Bufan sent another message to Li Fan, I'll go watch your competition later. Whether our contestants are eliminated or not, they will get a ticket to the front row of the auditorium. This was not bad. He didn't know if it was the arrangement of the Sky Martial Pavilion or the Martial Arts General Administration, but they still had some ideas. The competition is about to begin. Contestants, please get ready at your respective seats. The big screen and mobile app started to inform Li Fan. At this time, Teresa had to temporarily separate from Li Fan and go to the auditorium. At this time, in the open-air arena, the surrounding auditorium was full. The stands that could accommodate a total of 100,000 people were densely packed with people. Many people even stood in the aisle, wanting to watch the competition to the end. This was a world-level competition, and it was definitely something to watch. The stands were surrounded by 4 huge LCD screens. Countless small screens were connected together, forming the 4 huge screens. The screens showed the information of the 16 contestants for the audience to watch. At the same time, the Bank of the World also made a bet for this competition. They found the best actuary and based on the combat strength of the 16 contestants, they would determine their winning rate. In this competition, the person with the highest winning rate was actually number 9. After all, compared to Huaxia's martial artists, number 9's name was more well-known. Bai Xin and the Fierce White Tiger's winning rate was also very high. This was the result of the actuary's calculations. Chapter 1613. Are you crazy? When the boss of a famous gambling company saw the actuary's calculation results, he opened his eyes wide and cursed at the actuary from the east. How did you get your qualification certificate? Are you trying to bankrupt me? Pack your things and get lost. You don't deserve to be an actuary. Boss, you can fire me now, but you will regret it very soon. The actuary from the east pushed up his glasses. A hint of wisdom flashed in his eyes. You think too highly of the people from your country. How can their combat power compare to people like Bai Xin and White Tiger? I understand them because I am from China. The actuary insisted. You are the boss. I am the actuary. It doesn't matter if you don't believe me, but you will find me soon. Stop talking nonsense. Pack your things and get lost. The boss chased the actuary out of the door. Then, he looked at the calculation results of the top 16. You actually said that the people from China will win. Nonsense. Go and invite the other German actuary. This time, we are going to make a fortune. The bank was still in operation. They were waiting for the specific list of the top 16. Once the list was out, they would immediately start betting. Li Fan sat in his contestant's seat. Through the glass window in front of him, he looked at the arena outside. In his room, there was also a huge LCD screen. He could see the contestants' announcement on it. A host was already sitting high up in the stands. Through the microphone, he began to host the competition of the top 16. At this time, the enthusiasm of the audience was also ignited. Waves of cheers came one after another. Many fans of the contestants also rushed over. Most of them were number 9, White Tiger, and the others. The scene was very lively. Around the stands, Li Fan saw a few old men in gray robes. These old men looked ordinary, but they gave Li Fan an indescribable sense of majesty. Could it be that these people were from the Sky Martial Court? The Sky Martial Court was probably the most mysterious organization in the martial arts world. They only appeared during the selection of the chief of the martial arts world. Every time, they would bring a prize that no one could refuse. This time, it was the third page of the True Immortal Technique. The list of 16 contestants has appeared on the big screen. Everyone, please take a look. The names of the contestants have been messed up. Next, we will be randomly selecting them. The host's voice was full of enthusiasm, guiding the mood of the audience. Li Fan looked at the jumbled names and muttered in his heart, "Can this thing really be fair?" Our first round of contestants has begun screening. Everyone, please watch the big screen. On the big screen, Murong Ying's beautiful appearance in a cheongsam appeared. My God, my fiancé is actually the first to appear. The door to the participant seating area in front of Murong Ying opened, and the former martial arts guild master leaped more than 10 meters with a single leap, landing lightly on the huge arena. The appearance of Murong Ying also made many people cheer. There were many boys present, and they were all Murong Ying's fans. After all, she was a beautiful guild leader. It wasn't too much for her to have her own support team. The screen of the second contestant continued to rotate, and soon, a familiar face of a woman appeared on the screen. Fuck, this is too much of a coincidence. Li Fan saw Luo Shuawu wearing a long white dress and a blue chiffon. These two women actually met. Luo Shuawu is probably going to be miserable. The guild leader of the Leaning Sword was also as beautiful as a fairy. Her long dress fluttered as she gracefully landed on the arena and stood opposite of Murong Ying. The first contestant is our former martial arts guild master. She is a very young and beautiful woman. It is said that she is the current head of the most powerful Murong villa in Huaxia. My God, her fan club is so strong. Almost an entire area is cheering for her. I have to say, our beautiful guild leader wearing a cheongsam is a fatal temptation. The host showed off his glib tongue, and the beautiful woman opposite is not inferior either. She is the guild leader of Huaxia's martial arts guild, Leaning Sword Laughing Breeze. Both of you are alliance masters, but let us wait and see who is stronger. It seems that we are quite fated. Luo Shuawu slowly pulled out the sword hanging on her waist and pointed the tip of the sword at Murong Ying. Come and fight. I will tell you that I am no longer the Luo Shuawu of the past. Okay. Murong Ying nodded. She stood there with her hands behind her back and looked at Luo Shuawu. I look forward to your challenge. As a saint-level expert, Murong Ying was definitely qualified to say this. Our former martial arts guild master is indeed domineering. She gladly accepted the opponent's challenge. The host continued to ignite the crowd's emotions. Take this. Luo Xuewu was also an expert of her generation. She seemed to have been concentrating on cultivation recently. Judging from the momentum she instantly raised, she should have made great progress. Under everyone's gaze, Luo Xuewu instantly crossed more than 10 meters and swept her sword at Muronging. Clang! However, Muronging raised her slender leg and kicked Luo Xuewu's sword high into the air. However, at this moment, Luo Xuewu waved her palm. With a cold frost air, she directly slapped Muronging's abdomen with an ice palm. However, Muronging also raised her right palm. Her palm was like fire. With a posture of a rooster standing on one leg, she met Luo Xuewu's palm. Bang! Their palms collided. Luo Xuewu's body immediately slid out. At the same time, her skin became a little red. In terms of internal force, Muronging was obviously much stronger than Luo Xuewu. Moreover, Muronging showed mercy and did not use too much internal force. Humph! Luo Xuewu seemed to have expected that she was no match for Muronging in terms of internal force. However, she was unique and had an alternative way of attacking. Luo Xuewu took a step back and stabilized her body. Then, her palm turned white. She directly put it on the blade of her sword and wiped it. A layer of white frost immediately condensed on this shining sword. A layer of white ice actually formed on the blade of the sword, turning it into an ice sword. Muronging, take this. Luo Xuewu once again came in front of Muronging. She waved the ice sword in her hand repeatedly. With a bone-chilling cold air, she tried to hurt Muronging. However, Muronging was unmoved. She slightly opened her hands and controlled the internal force in her body. It condensed into pink cherry blossoms and rotated in front of her. Like a shield, it constantly blocked Luo Xuewu's ice sword. Muronging's talent of turning nothingness into reality seemed to have become much stronger after she reached the martial saint level. You're very good. Muronging's eyes sparkled with persistence. But I'm not the Muronging of the past. As she spoke, she suddenly aimed at a gap in Luo Xuewu's attack. Two fingers suddenly touched the blade of her sword. Chapter 16:14. Clang! The cherry blossom shot out, and the ice sword in Luo Xuewu's hand was broken. Luo Xuewu was also sent flying. She looked at the broken sword in her hand in shock. Her ice blade was filled with internal energy, but it was broken so easily by Muronging. Muronging's strength had improved to that level again. Luo Xuewu landed on the ground and stared at the broken sword in her hand. She didn't come back to her senses for a long time. Muronging stood there with her hands behind her back and said loudly, "Luo Xuewu, do you admit defeat?" "I don't," Luo Xuewu said sternly. Then, all her hair flew up. Every strand of hair turned snow-white, and the blue muslin dress on her also fluttered. Thick frost appeared at the place where Luo Xuewu stood. White snowflakes floated down from the clear sky. The spectators on the stands were shocked. There was actually such a powerful force that could affect the weather. The host also exclaimed repeatedly, calling for a miracle. At this moment, Luo Xuewu was like a snow woman. She stood on the ground with one foot and looked coldly at Muronging in front of her. "I didn't expect that after so many years, your mysterious ice chi has been trained to such a level." Muronging couldn't help but praise, "You're indeed the leader of Sword Reliance." These words are like sarcasm coming from the mouth of leader Murong. Luo Xuewu was unwilling. No matter how much she improved, she couldn't catch up with Muronging's pace. Could it be that only she had the strength and talent to follow by Li Fan's side? She was also a proud daughter of heaven. "Why? I said it out of sincerity to praise you. If you don't appreciate it, then forget it." Muronging naturally wouldn't explain. She stretched out her hand, and 2 swords condensed from cherry blossoms appeared in her hand. I will use my strongest move to defeat you to show my respect. Seeing Muronging standing on one leg and holding the 2 swords, Li Fan couldn't help but be surprised. Good heavens, she's actually going to use the yin-yang dragon and phoenix sword by herself. In Jin Yang's novel, Xiao Longnu learned how to fight left and right, so she could use the Jade Maiden plain sword alone. Could it be that Muronging had done it in the same way? This woman was indeed terrifyingly powerful. Take this. Luo Xuewu circulated her profound ice true qi and prepared to give Muronging a palm strike. With her current palm strength, no matter who it was, she could freeze them. However, the moment she raised her hand, Muronging had already appeared behind her with 2 swords in her hands. Dancing Dragon and Phoenix. The first form of the yin-yang dragon and phoenix sword was activated, and Falling Snow Dance had no way of fighting back. Bloody wounds appeared on her legs, arms, and shoulders. Blood spurted out, and she fell heavily to the ground, losing the ability to fight. Looks like contestant Luo Xuewu is no longer able to fight. But what just happened? The host asked this question on behalf of all the audience. Previously, Muronging was too fast, the audience didn't even see her movements, and Luo Xuewu had already been defeated. As expected of the previous generation's martial arts alliance master, her strength is indeed outstanding. Let us congratulate contestant Muronging, and also give encouragement to contestant Luo Xuewu. Amidst the cheers and applause of the crowd, Luo Xuewu was helped down by the staff, and Muronging also returned to her contestant seat. Luo Xuewu was really not bad, but the opponent she faced was too terrifying. Li Fan also felt pity for Luo Xuewu, who asked Muronging to be strong. Among these people, there were only a few who could win against Muronging. With Muronging's level of controlling the yin-yang dragon and phoenix sword alone, Li Fan felt that even he might not be able to defeat her without using the heavenly thunder transformation. He was still the great god of the universe. He actually created such a powerful kung fu like the heavenly thunder transformation according to his own attributes. They were not from the same plane, otherwise, if he made a move, he would probably destroy beyond heaven in minutes. Under everyone's expectant gaze, let us start the next round of contestant selection. This time, which 2 strong people will fight? While the host was speaking, the big screen had already begun to rotate the photos of the contestants. Soon, a figure stood out and was reflected on the big screen. Oh, this contestant is a beautiful little girl. The host saw the figure in the photo and couldn't help but praise. There are so many beautiful women signing up for this year's martial arts competition. It seems that kung fu and beauty are not exclusive. Let us welcome this contestant. Her name is Liang Ru. She is so young, but she holds a mysterious position in Huaxia, the Shang Fang sword. Everyone, look, contestant Liang Ru has already walked into the arena. The sword on her back is the legendary Shang Fang sword. I heard that it has been passed down for thousands of years. The value of this sword alone is already immeasurable. Liang Ru's appearance caused the audience to cheer again. This was the effect of a beautiful woman. Li Fan looked at Liang Ru, wanting to see how she would perform. Oh my, contestant Liang Ru is only 19 years old. She is the youngest contestant in this year's martial arts competition. Her opponent, oh my god, is the leader of the Kongtong sect, Long Bailey. The audience's hearts were in their mouths. This beautiful little girl was going to lose against a sect leader. From the audience's reaction, it seems that sect leader Long has a higher chance of winning. This sect leader Long is already 40 years old, but he still looks like a young man in his prime. The Kongtong sect he leads is a large sect that has been passed down for hundreds of years in Huaxia. The Kongtong sect is located on the Kongtong mountain in Pingliang, Gansu province. The local customs there are very attractive. While the host was rambling, Long Bailey, wearing a black short-sleeved shirt, walked into the arena with a majestic gait. When he saw Liang Ru standing opposite him, he couldn't help but laugh. "Little girl, you are participating in this martial arts competition at such a young age. I am a grandmaster, the leader of the Kongtong sect. It doesn't seem right to bully you like this. How about this, I will let you make 3 moves first." Long Bailey had always been arrogant. He was confident in his profound skills and didn't take Liang Ru seriously. No need. Liang Ru's temper was like that of a stubborn donkey. She was also extremely proud. She didn't allow Long Bailey to look down on her. She immediately pulled out the Shangfang sword on her back. The sword lit up with a light yellow light. The Shangfang sword provided its own energy to Liang Ru and sent it into her body. In the next second, Liang Ru felt as if she had changed. Her ears and eyes became sharper and she had infinite strength. Swoosh! Liang Ru's body carried a fragrant wind as she streaked across the arena and instantly appeared in front of Long Bailey. According to the method that Li Fan taught her, Liang Ru stabbed at Long Bailey in a row. There was no need for any skills or experience. Liang Ru just relied on her own strength and speed to stab crazily. Chapter 16:15. There was an old saying that went, "A random punch could kill an old master." Moreover, Liang Ru had inherited the power of the Shangfang sword. The speed and strength of each sword strike were perfect. Just a moment ago, Long Bailey was still boasting that he was awesome and wanted to let his opponent have 3 moves. At this moment, he was also stunned by this crazy stab. He hurriedly raised his true chi and poured his inner force into his hands. He used the roaring flame saber technique to continuously block Liang Ru's stab. However, he was still stabbed a few times, and blood kept spurting out from his body. Blazing sun illumination. In the end, Long Bailey had no choice but to transfer all the internal energy in his body and gather it on his palms. Both of his palms struck out at the same time, like the blazing sun in the sky. Just as Liang Ru felt the blinding light, her body was sent flying by the internal force and she landed far away. Phew! Long Bailey tapped on his body a few times to temporarily stop the bleeding. Then, he looked at Liang Ru, who had stabilized her body, with some horror. How could this little girl be so powerful? Liang Ru was also very surprised. She did not expect that the sword-drawing method that Li Fan taught her would be so useful. No wonder people say that among all the martial arts in the world, only speed is unbeatable. Little did she know that Li Fan had actually researched this sword technique based on a set of martial arts from Jin Yong's book. What were the martial arts in the book? Of course it was the Bixia swordplay. In fact, Li Fan felt that in Jin Yong's book, especially in the Smiling, Proud Wanderer, the strongest swordplay should be the Bixia swordplay, not the solitary 9 swords. The reason why Lin Pingji lost to Ling Huchong was that he didn't have enough time to practice and his inner force foundation was not stable. As for Yu Buchuan, he lost to Ling Huchong because of Ling Huchong's powerful martial arts set. Solitary 9 swords plus absorbing stars, great technique plus Jin scripture. Among them, Dongfang Bubi was the one who had practiced the evil warding sword the most powerful. Although it was called the Sunflower Treasured Manual, in the end, it was still a set of martial arts. If Ling Huchong didn't join hands with Ren Wuxing, and if Yang Lianting didn't drag them down, Dongfang Bubi wouldn't have lost. Among all the martial arts in the world, only speed was unbeatable. This set of Bixia sword art could be said to be the sword intent of the Sunflower Treasure Manual. It could be summed up in one word: fast. It was as if Dongfang Bubi had an embroidery needle in his hand, and with a casual stab, he could execute a terrifying killing move. Liang Ru closed in on Long Bailey once again. She used the same trick as before. She threw out a set of rapid thrusts, thrusting towards Long Bailey. Li Fan couldn't help but smile bitterly. This lass really didn't know when to stop. Although her sword was fast, it was the most ordinary random stabs. This fast sword had reached a high level. It should be like Muronging, who didn't easily use her sword, but when she used her sword, she would hit a vital point. Although Long Bailey was a little flustered at the beginning, he was, after all, an experienced fighter. He quickly adapted to Liang Ru's rhythm. Although Liang Ru's sword was fast, he quickly retreated and dodged her attacks. Soon, Liang Ru was a little tired, and sweat appeared on her forehead. Even with the power provided by the Shangfang sword, she still found it a little hard to endure such a high-frequency combo. Soon, Liang Ru slowed down her pace, but at this moment, Long Bailey suddenly attacked. He directly passed through Liang Ru's attack range and chopped Liang Ru's shoulder with a knife hand. Bang! Fortunately, Liang Ru had the power to protect her body. Otherwise, she might not be able to keep her arm. Even so, she was still sent flying high into the air. Liang Ru somersaulted in the air, barely stabilized her body, and then landed on the ground. But even so, she still looked a little painful as she knelt on the ground. The corner of Long Bailey's mouth hung a complacent smile. This lass wanted to fight with him, but she was still too inexperienced. The strongest part of his roaring flame blade was that he could send inner force into the opponent's body. Long Bailey's inner force was incomparably scorching. He could adapt to it, but the opponent couldn't. Once the inner force entered the opponent's body, it would immediately cause damage to the opponent's meridians. This lass in front of him actually injured him. He really couldn't forgive her. "Young lady, it's already not bad that you can injure me." As Long Bailey spoke, he gathered his inner force on his hands. His hands became incomparably red. True chi boiled and twisted on them, like half of a burning flame. "But that's all there is to your strength. You're nothing more than a stepping stone for me." As he spoke, Long Bailey used his Kong Tong sect's unique Qinggong, shattering mountains and rivers, and leaped towards Liang Ru. Liang Ru hurriedly took 2 steps back. Long Bailey landed in front of her and stomped heavily on the ground. With a bang, the ground trembled slightly, and Liang Ru's body also swayed. At this moment, Long Bailey's hands danced with the roaring flame blade. Swish swish. 2 blades landed solidly on Liang Ru's body. Liang Ru's clothes were sliced open, and fresh blood and skin splattered out. Li Fan slammed the table and stood up. This Long Bailey, fighting is one thing, but he actually took the opportunity to act like a hooligan. Under everyone's gaze, a golden light wrapped around Liang Ru, wrapping her up like a giant golden egg, and landed on the ground at the side. Heavens, what is this? Giant golden egg. The host was still worried at first, but when he saw this giant egg, he couldn't help but mutter, "Our contestant Liang Ru, does she still have any special moves that she hasn't used?" Just as he voiced his doubts, Long Bailey didn't want to hesitate. In order to prevent any accidents from happening, he immediately jumped towards the giant egg. Gotcha! At this moment, the golden egg cracked open, and Liang Ru jumped out from inside. At this moment, Liang Ru was wearing a golden battle robe and holding an Shangfang sword in her hand. Her heroic spirit was overbearing, as if she was a goddess of war. Slash! Liang Ru's eyes turned golden. She waved her sword, and a golden sword chi immediately swept over, attacking Long Bailey's body. Long Bailey didn't expect that there would be such a move. His hand blade barely blocked the sword chi, and he was sent flying. Long Bailey somersaulted a few times in the air before he barely landed on the edge of the stage. Both of his hands were still trembling, and the skin on his hands had been ruptured. Fresh blood flowed out, dyeing his hands red. Heavens, our contestant Liang Ru seems to have changed into a different person. What did she just wave out? Is it sword chi? The host was dumbstruck, and the audience was also crying out in surprise. This was the first time they saw such an attack. Imperial sword technique. Liang Ru's hands separated, and the Shang Fang sword directly flew into the air, revolving around Liang Ru. Unbelievable. Could it be the Imperial sword technique? Our Chinese martial arts expert can actually use qi to control the sword. I think many of the audience are the same as me, and it's an eye-opener. It's just magic. Bai Sen, who was sitting in the contestant seat, saw this scene, but he was disdainful. Chinese people just like to use fancy things, but they don't have any practical value. Just as Bai Sen was ridiculing, the sword suddenly shot out, and instantly appeared in front of Long Bailey. Chapter 16:16. Liang Ru, as the new generation's Shang Fang sword, is also China's guardian. Her soul has obtained the recognition of the sword souls, so she can obtain great power from the Shang Fang sword. Li Fan has also used this kind of sword technique before. Through communicating with the sword souls, he borrowed their power and played with the sword intent transformation. Fusing the Shang Fang sword with himself and becoming one with the sword can increase his strength by 2 or 3 times. Previously, Liang Ru's strength was at the peak of perfection, but after the transformation, her strength has smoothly climbed to the realm of a generation's grandmaster. At the same time, the sword souls have also imparted their rich combat experience to Liang Ru. The current Liang Ru is no longer that young and inexperienced rookie who has just obtained power, but a true combat master. She controlled the flying sword and instantly arrived in front of Long Bailey, directly stabbing towards Long Bailey's throat, one sword to take his life. Long Bailey was shocked. He hurriedly waved his hand, trying to split the flying sword. But when he waved his hand, he actually swept the air. My palm actually pierced through the sword's body. What the hell? In the next second, he felt a sharp pain in his leg. Long Bailey lowered his head and saw that the Shang Fang sword had actually pierced into his calf. Damn it! Long Bailey did not understand the situation, but Li Fan could roughly see it. Long Bailey casually waved his blade, but with his level, it is impossible for him to casually make a move. This shows one thing: in Long Bailey's eyes, the Shang Fang sword that he saw was aimed at his upper body. What does this mean? At that moment, Liang Ru used her mental power to confuse Long Bailey, creating a fake Shang Fang sword in Long Bailey's mind, causing him to fall for it. This move was truly terrifying. It was both real and fake, real and fake. This was also a high-grade martial art. The stronger Long Bailey is, the more combat experience he has, the easier it is for him to fall for it. Because to Long Bailey, when he sees the opponent's attack, he will almost subconsciously counterattack. This way, he basically can't avoid Liang Ru's illusory sword. Sure enough, Liang Ru once again created the illusory sword. Long Bailey's palm hit the air, and the Shang Fang sword stabbed into his left arm from the side. The 2 consecutive stabs caused Long Bailey to lose a lot of blood. He retreated a few steps and jabbed an acupoint to stop the bleeding. However, he had lost too much blood. A sense of dizziness had already enveloped Long Bailey's eyes. Everything he saw was a little blurry. Damn it! I'm actually going to be defeated at this step. Long Bailey couldn't help but feel annoyed. He was too careless. The successor of the Shang Fang sword really couldn't be underestimated. Even though she was just a little girl, she still made him suffer so much. I will not lose. I won't eat your moves anymore. As Long Bailey spoke, and Shang Fang's sword appeared in front of him. I won't be fooled again. Long Bailey forcibly controlled himself and did not take the sword. However, the treasured sword was solid. It directly pierced through his lower abdomen and came out from his back. Long Bailey took a few steps back and widened his eyes. Then, he knelt on the ground. The match is over. Seeing that Long Bailey had been fatally injured and had lost his ability to fight, the host hurriedly announced the result. Liang Ru relied on the Shangfang sword to defeat the leader of the Kongtong sect. This kind of attack method was an eye-opener for many people. Illusory sword. The Shangfang sword really lives up to its name. The eyes of Wang Zhen, Yu Su, and the others lit up. However, they were true masters after all. After the battle, they also had a way to deal with the illusory sword. Even if they met Liang Ru in the next match, they also had a way to deal with the illusory sword. How was it? Did I perform well? Liang Ru immediately sent a WeChat message to Li Fan after returning to the contestant seats. You did perform well, but it's all thanks to the sword's soul. Li Fan's words made Liang Ru unhappy. The little girl rolled her eyes. You also have to learn more from the sword's soul and absorb their combat experience. I know. Stop being so long-winded. It's your turn in a while. Don't lose. Thank you for your concern. Li Fan was neither servile nor overbearing. He just stood there and looked at the arena outside. In the next round, who would be fighting who? Under the expectant gazes of the audience, we welcome the third match of the day. The round of 16 was indeed unusual. In just a short while, 2 people had already advanced. Will the third round of 16 be as smooth as before? Let's wait and see. Soon, the third round of 16 was announced. The Shaolin Abbot, Master Yu Su, was up against the American superstar, hero number 9. The old abbot stared at the baldy, pressed his palms together, and slowly walked into the arena. As for number 9, he was dressed in his familiar black uniform and cloak. Like a hero on television, he descended from the sky and landed in front of Yu Su with a bang. It's the American superhero, number 9, who has appeared. He's indeed an idol-like figure. His appearance is also so cool. Half of the audience is cheering for him. It seems that this superhero is very popular. Number 9's popularity in the West was at the level of a nuclear bomb. His appearance excited the fans. These fans were all wearing number 9's clothing and cheering for him. Number 9, I love you. Go, number 9. Defeat that evil monk. You're the strongest. Upon hearing these cheers, the enlightened monk was a little dumbfounded. Amitba. When did I become evil? Ignore them. Number 9 crossed his arms and stood in front of the old monk. Make your move. Amitba. Benefactor, you are too polite. Watch this old monk's 1,000 Buddha palm. Yu Su was indeed Yu Su. His decades of cultivation were not for nothing. He was just like a meditating old Buddha, but in the blink of an eye, he moved like lightning. With a yellow beam of light, he instantly appeared in front of number 9. At the same time, 1,000 Buddha palm went straight for number 9's forehead. Number 9 was still hugging his arms as if he could not react in time. He was directly slapped in the forehead by Yu Su. Bam! Master Yu Su was like an Asura during the match. He did not hold back. 1,000 Buddha palm had astonishing power. The ground under number 9's feet directly shattered. Rubble and bricks flew everywhere. Amitba. Benefactor. Are you alright? Yu Su was also a little regretful. He could not control himself during the fight and was a little too ruthless. I'm fine. Number 9 stood there with her arms crossed, replying indifferently. Ah. Me. Tuo. Buddha. Not only Yusu, all the Shaolin disciples in the surrounding stands let out a Buddhist chant. It was too shocking. He took a direct hit from their abbot's 1,000 Buddha palm and was actually unscathed. Old monk, continue. Chapter 16-17. As soon as number 9 finished her words, a beautiful blonde girl holding a megaphone shouted from the spectator stand. As a hero, you must speak politely. You must call him master. The megaphone was extremely loud with an ear-piercing screech, causing the security guards to run over and take away the girl's tools. Number 9 coughed twice and corrected herself. Master, please continue. Li Fan was dumbfounded in the contestants' seating area. Fuck, was this the number 9 he knew? The current number 9 was not domineering at all. Instead, he looked like a bronchitis. Fuck, he was a man cloned with his own genes. How could he be a bronchitis? He should be like me, domineering and unparalleled, making women obey him. Look at me, Li Fan. When have I ever listened to a woman's manipulation? Li Fan, if you and I fight later, you must use all your strength. No mercy. Do you hear me? Li Fan was filled with righteous indignation when he suddenly received a voice message from Muroning on his WeChat. Yes. Li Fan replied obediently. The competition was still going on. Although number 9 was provoking him, Master Yusu had a high state of mind. Naturally, he would not fall for it. Amitabha, almsgiver has a strong body. It's like becoming a Buddha or a saint. This old monk admires you. What Buddha? What saint? It's all bullshit. Number 9 said, what Buddha? What saint? It's all bullshit. Because the contestants were all wearing microphones, their words could be heard clearly by everyone in the audience. Therefore, number 9's words caused the fans to scream again. Each of them was extremely excited. Amitabha, if almsgiver has no Buddha in his heart, he is either good or evil. What is good? What is evil? Number 9 said, I once saw a drug lord who killed countless people. In order to save his old mother, he was willing to sacrifice his organs even if he lost his life. Tell me, is such a person good or evil? Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha. Since he has the heart to repent, that is good. But in order to find the remaining organs that could be used, he captured 100 undocumented immigrants and gave them their hearts one by one. Was that good or evil? Even Yusu was speechless for a moment. In Huaxia, a man named Han Fizi once said that human nature is evil, so people can't be weighed by good and evil. They can only be restrained by the law. Number 9 said loudly, those who break the law must be punished. Even if it was a small evil, he couldn't let it go. Some people were good at exploiting loopholes in the law. After all, the law was dead. But I am alive. I am number 9, and I am also the Punisher. Li Fan thought, why does number 9 speak so smoothly? Could it be that the female reporter named Windsor taught him these words? At this time, the host also spoke. Number 9's discussion with Grandmaster seems to have some reason. Our Huaxia is also a country governed by law, but the law must be enforced by the law enforcement department, and justice cannot be proclaimed by one person. The host's words did not receive the approval of most people, but what he said was the most basic truth. In this place, the individual cannot be greater than the law. Even a national hero like Li Fan had to be restricted. This was different from number 9. He was in the United States, and the people there pursued heroes and freedom. Everyone naturally had their own values. In other words, they had their own gods and Buddhas. Grandmaster Yusu didn't bother arguing with number 9. Instead, he continued to use his 1,000 Buddha palms to fight number 9. Number 9 was still hugging his arms like an Iron Man, allowing the old monk's iron palms to land on his body. Pang pang pang. Explosions rang out continuously, and a strong energy exploded from Number 9's body, striking the surrounding area. But no matter how Yusu attacked, Number 9 was perfectly fine, as if he wasn't injured at all. Amitabha, the old monk finally saw something and couldn't help but sigh. I am not your match, I admit defeat. This Shaolin abbot, the leader of the martial arts world, admitted defeat after a few blows. Everyone around was shocked, but those who bet on Number 9 to win all laughed out loud. Look, Number 9 is still the strongest. The Bank of the World's boss nodded his head in satisfaction. My previous actuary must have gone mad. If I followed his plan, I would have lost everything. Chinese people can't be trusted, so I can help you earn so much money. The German actuary said confidently. In his prediction, Number 9 and the fierce white tiger would meet in the finals, and the person who would win would definitely be Number 9. But as a bet, there had to be a way. Otherwise, if everyone favored Number 9 and bet on it, they would lose miserably. So, for such a competition, they would usually use time as a way to increase the fun of the bet. For example, if Number 9 defeated the fierce white tiger, they would give him a handicap of 10. What did this handicap mean? It meant that Number 9 had to defeat the fierce white tiger within 10 minutes for it to be considered his win. If he didn't win within 10 minutes, then it would be considered his win. In this way, there would be people betting on the fierce white tiger. This time, Number 9 won by a handicap of 7. After all, the Shaolin abbot, Master Yusu, was the leader of the martial arts world, and his strength was recognized. So, the bet was for Number 9 to defeat Master Yusu within 7 minutes. Many people thought that Yusu was an expert, and Shaolin had been the strongest sect in China since ancient times. Wasn't there a saying that all the martial arts in the world originated from Shaolin? In the past, there was a Shaolin Temple movie that was popular all over the world. So, a lot of money was spent on Yusu. 7 minutes. Didn't the Shaolin abbot have some golden bell shield and iron shirt? He should be able to hold on, right? Who would have thought that he would admit defeat within 2 minutes? A large sum of money entered the bank, and the boss was overjoyed. Many gamblers cried on the rooftop. Number 9 is a well-deserved hero of the United States. He defeated the leader of the martial arts world, Master Yusu. The host was also promoting Number 9 for the sake of the atmosphere. Many people in the arena are still shouting Number 9's name. I wonder if the Huaxia expert who will face him in the next battle will be able to turn the tables. Li Fan sat in the contestant's seat and fell into deep thought. Number 9's strength seemed to have increased a lot. At least, he was much stronger than the last time he went to Li Family Island to find his clone. He was indeed a comrade with his own genes. It made sense that he was strong. The name list for the 4th round is out. It's Li Yun from China's valiant sect against our black boxing champion, Bai Sen. The crowd cheered again, and the information of the two appeared on the big screen. At this time, the bank also started operating. According to the actuary's calculations, the boss gave the two a handicap. Bai Sen defeated Li Yun, handicap of 3. Chapter 16-18. Bai Sen was a famous black boxing champion, and no one dared to underestimate his strength. It was said that even the fierce white tiger would have to be courteous to Bai Sen when it met him. Bai Sen's fists were fast and fierce, and he was known as the bullet-fist king. In other words, his fists had the same speed and power as a bullet. At this moment, Bai Sen was fighting against an unknown Chinese martial master, and almost all the Westerners were looking at Bai Sen. Even the Easterners themselves did not have any hope for Li Yun, a person from the heroic martial sect, who they had never heard of before. One must know that they often went to watch Bai Sen's boxing matches. They had personally seen a video of Bai Sen punching a cow's head. This kind of terrifying arm strength was not something that just anyone could have, right? Especially when Li Yun appeared, everyone couldn't help but sympathize with him when they saw his thin and weak body. This brother was definitely going to be very miserable. Li Fan patted the dust off his clothes, and under the host's voice, he stood in front of the black and rough Bai Senator. Although Bai Sen was not 2 meters tall, he was at least 1.9 meters. The muscles on his body were streamlined and very full. With one look, one could tell that he was a person who often fought. Moreover, he trained himself very well, and his body was also maintained at its peak condition. Oh my god, our heroic martial sect's little contestant actually met the Bullet Fist King Bai Sen. He is really too unlucky. The host exclaimed, I really don't know if our contestant can last a little longer under Bai Sen's hands. Bai Sen's chances of winning against Li Fan was 3%. As long as Li Fan could last for 3 minutes without losing, he would be the winner in the Bank of the World's bet. It was only 3 minutes. It seemed that no one was optimistic about Li Fan at all. It's time for the match, let's pray for contestant Li. Li Fan felt that the host's voice was a little noisy. Bai Sen swayed his arms, and his feet stepped on the unique footwork of a boxer, jumping back and forth a few steps. He was like a powerful hunter staring at his pitiful prey. There were many Bai Sen fans around, and they were all cheering for Bai Sen, shouting his name in unison. Each wave was stronger than the last. The martial emperor sat in his competitor's area and lightly harumphed as he looked at the scene outside. Although you have changed your appearance, I can still recognize you at a glance. Li Fan, do you see that? Even if you work hard for these people, they still don't care about you. Every man for himself, and heaven and earth destroy him. I should be the one to lead and educate these foolish people. The bank boss sat in front of the television and watched the broadcast. He laughed coldly to himself. Poor Huaxia monkey, you will soon become my money tree. The signal for the start of the match rang out. Bai Sen's fans were ready to celebrate their boxing champion. Bai Sen quickly moved forward. He was extremely fast in his galloping state. With a gust of wind, he arrived in front of Li Fan. Then, he threw a quick punch at Li Fan's nose. Bai Sen didn't hold back. The Chinese man in front of him had blocked his attack before. He wasn't weak and definitely couldn't be underestimated. In everyone's eyes, Li Fan's head would definitely be smashed by this punch and he would be sent flying. But they were wrong. Li Fan just reached out with one hand and blocked Bai Sen's fist. With a pang, energy exploded from Li Fan's palm. Bai Sen's fist wasn't weak. You have some skill. Bai Sen said as he pulled out his fist from Li Fan's hand and threw a series of quick punches at Li Fan. Pang pang pang. The air exploded as Bai Sen threw no less than 30 punches in the blink of an eye. But Li Fan had one hand behind his back and the other in front of him, blocking all the punches. God, the Bullet Fist King lives up to his name, his fists are as fast as bullets. But Li Fan isn't any weaker. He is thin and weak, but he is on par with Bai Sen. As the host spoke, Li Fan suddenly moved his body horizontally, and then punched out with both fists, heavily hitting Bai Sen's chest. Arhat strikes the bell. This was the move that Lu Bufan taught Li Fan. It was also the basic boxing technique of the Shaolin sect. It actually sent Bai Sen flying and he fell heavily to the ground, lying there. Unbelievable. Li Yun actually sent the boxing champion Bai Sen flying. Without waiting for Bai Sen to stand up, Li Fan flew forward again and kicked Bai Sen's head, sending him flying and crashing outside the ring. Bai Sen fainted there, motionless. He had lost the right to compete. The audience quietened down. Bai Sen's fans were stunned, the audience in front of the TV was stunned, and even the bank's boss was stunned. The boxing champion Bai Sen actually lost. Oh yeah. Teresa waved her little fists excitedly in the stands, while Lu Bufan sat not far away, completely dumbfounded. Oh my god, what's going on? Junior brother is actually this strong. I even tried to guide him, but he turned out to be the real expert. I've practiced the Arhat fist for half my life, but I'm not as effective as junior brother. Shameful, this is too shameful. Fortunately, junior brother's character is not bad, so he probably won't laugh at me. But seeing Teresa's expression that seemed to be smiling yet not smiling, he felt like dying. But he did not know that the one who wanted to die the most was the bank's boss. Damn it. What kind of magic did this Hua Xia person use to actually defeat Bai Sen? Damn it, I've lost miserably in this match. Although it was not to the extent of hurting his muscles and bones, it still made his heart ache. Alright, there are gains and losses. I'll make you lose everything in the next match to me. The bank's boss's eyes revealed a vengeful glint. It's really unexpected. Li Fan could hear the sound of the host swallowing his saliva. Our China's heroic martial sex little contestant, Li Yun, defeated the boxing champion Bai Sen and won the top 16. No matter what, this is a miracle. Let us be happy for him. A round of applause finally came from the stands. Many of the Chinese spectators also shouted Li Yun's name. Whether they supported him or not, Li Fan actually did not care. But hearing that everyone was cheering for him, Li Fan still felt a little happy. No matter what time it was always good to know that there were people supporting him. Dear, do you want to go back and celebrate? I'll accompany you. Li Fan received a WeChat message from Teresa. This girl, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. She actually registered a WeChat account in China. No, I want to see my next opponent. You better watch too. You'll have a new understanding of Kung Fu. Alright, a man with no taste. Teresa could only send a crying emoji. The contestants for the next match are out. Let us see who they are. Chapter 16-19. In a short while, half of the top 16 had already passed. Li Fan was also looking forward to the participants in the 5th round of the competition. The demonic sect's holy maiden against the Kunlun sect leader. This woman who claims to be the solipsism holy maiden has a mysterious identity. Even our competition committee does not know her identity. The host looked at the masked holy maiden and expressed his regret. I'm sorry, we can only provide this information because the tradition of the Martial Circle Assembly is to respect the privacy of every participant. If the other party is not willing to reveal her identity, we can only accept it. This kind of situation would only appear in the Martial Circle Assembly jointly organized with the underworld. And her opponent is the sect leader of Kunlun, one of the 6 major sects in Huaxia, Miao Chen. The host finally had someone to introduce. Miao Chen is 39 years old this year. He leads Kunlun, a famous sect in Huaxia. Kunlun sect is located in Qinghai's Kunlun Mountain. It is also an immortal-like holy land. Friends who have the opportunity to go to Kunlun Mountain, why not go to Kunlun sect to take a look? It is said that Kunlun produces immortals. Although I have never seen an immortal, this sect leader Miao has the demeanor of an immortal. Miao Chen stood in front of the holy maiden. This so-called immortal-like sect leader had an ugly expression. Demonic sect scum, Jianghu people, everyone has the right to punish you. As the demonic sect's holy maiden, you actually dare to appear. You really have guts. Ox nose, you can't scare me. The saintess had one hand on her slender waist and the other was playing with a sword. When Li Fan saw this sword, his gaze tightened. For elephant's sword. My God, my good little brother really lent his sword to the holy maiden. Looks like this time, the demonic sect is determined to obtain the Alliance leader's reward. The holy maiden's voice was enchanting, carrying a bit of charm, as if the nine-tailed divine fox was reincarnated. Her pair of spring water-like eyes looked at Miao Qin and provoked. The rules of the Martial Circle Assembly is that all grudges in Jianghu should be settled in the arena. Why, ox nose, could it be that you wish to ignore the rules set by the Sky Martial Pavilion and bring your disciples and grand-disciples to kill me here? Humph. Miao Qin swept his horsetail whisk. Don't be so arrogant. This poor Daoist alone can end you. Kunlun Mountain was also a Daoist martial arts sect. Every sect leader would become a Daoist priest, but they were also Daoist priests who ate meat and drank wine. This Miao Qin looked to be serious, but he actually had a large number of wives and concubines, and he'd never followed the rules of Taoism. Although Miao Qin didn't like to talk normally, but when it came to the matters of the devil cult, he also showed his abhorrence of evil. Last time at the 7 Chivalry Mountain Villa, I thought that Miao Qin was quite low-key. Li Fan crossed his legs and looked at Miao Qin on the stage. Now that I've seen you today, it turns out that you're someone who likes to pinch soft persimmons. Do you think that I'm a pushover and easy to bully? The Saintess also saw through Miao Qin's thoughts. If you want to defeat me, you'll have to try the 4-elephant sword in my hands first. This sword is really in the hands of your devil cult. Miao Qin's eyes looked at the sword, and greed flashed in his eyes. Back then, the little overlord Li Fan lost this sword. Today, let this poor Daoist take it back. Feel free to try. The Saintess sneered. As the competition began, she directly waved her hand. Sword chi crisscrossed, and a fierce white tiger pounced out of the void. Then, it turned into 4 clones, and pounced towards Miao Qin from 4 sides. What is this? The host was dazzled by what he saw. This Saintess contestant actually conjured 4 fierce tigers? Today's martial arts tournament has really broadened my horizons. I believe that the audience present also feels the same way. What he said was indeed correct. These audience members had never seen this before. A treasured sword that could turn illusions into reality. This kind of treasure was rarely seen even in the martial arts world. For thousands of years, there was only one 4-elephant sword. What the people of the martial arts world wanted the most was the true immortal art that could allow one to become an immortal. The second was the 9 Buddhist Sutra that could allow one to become immortal. The third was the 4-elephant sword that could turn illusions into reality. Now that the 4-elephant sword and the true immortal art had appeared together, how could Miao Qin not be secretly delighted? First come, first served. Since he was the first to see it, then this 4-elephant sword belonged to him. Miao Qin did not pay any attention to those 4 fierce tigers at all. Miao Qin looked at the 4 fierce tigers and displayed the elegant wind god's legs. She easily kicked out 4 times, and the 4 white tigers that pounced towards her were all kicked to pieces. Li Fan could not help but feel a little regretful. It seemed that the Saintess did not make any progress. Even if she held the 4-elephant sword, she would not be able to display the true power of this sword. Demon girl, you are not worthy of this 4-elephant sword. Give it to this poor Daoist. As Miao Qin said that, she displayed the 8 steps cloud-treading qigong. In an instant, she flew more than 10 meters away. Her figure was extremely elegant and at ease. She was like a true immortal that had descended to the mortal world. It was pleasing to the eye. He forced his way to the front of the Saintess. With a series of wind god's legs, he kicked out a series of afterimages. He was prepared to defeat the Saintess in one move. But at this moment, the corners of the Saintess' eyes had a hint of a smile. She held the long sword with both hands and let out a delicate cry. Black tortoise. The huge dragon turtle wrapped around the saintess body. The sword chi on it directly sent Miao Chen's body flying. No matter how exquisite Miao Chen's wind god's legs were, at this moment, she had no choice but to fall into a somewhat awkward situation. Go to hell. The saintess body suddenly emitted a red light. Her strength instantly increased by at least 10 times. When Li Fan saw this scene, he could not help but stand up. So strong. At this moment, the saintess' strength had actually risen to the Grandmaster realm. Was this her original strength, or had she used some kind of secret technique to increase her strength? But no matter which one it was, Miao Chen was going to be out of luck. Sure enough, before Miao Chen could react, under his horrified and distorted gaze, the saintess had already raised the 4-elephant sword and flung out a vermilion bird sword chi. The vermilion bird that was burning with flames was the size of a peacock. It flew out in an instant. Its speed was as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, it passed through Miao Chen's body. Puchi. An arm that was burning with flames fell off. Miao Chen let out a blood-curdling scream. He revolved his true chi to shatter the flames that continued to burn around the wound. After that, he stopped his own blood. Finally, he fell to the ground. Unable to stabilize his body, he tumbled down. His originally combed hair had also come undone. This Kunlun Taoist priest no longer had that celestial-like demeanor from before. His hair was disheveled, and half of his body was charred black. He looked as miserable as one could imagine. You've lost. The saintess sheathed her sword. This is the martial tournament. Bloody, cruel, but also filled with the glory of the martial artists. The host's voice rang out again. If this was an ordinary martial arts competition, I'm afraid the saintess would have already lost the qualifications to compete. But this is the martial tournament. Everything has its own rules. A few medical staff came up and carried the heavily injured Miao Chen away. Chapter 1620. The host was right. It was indeed a martial arts competition. Li Fan looked at the saintess who had defeated her opponent with a single move and couldn't help but mutter. I've really underestimated this saintess. It seems that she has had a fortuitous encounter after parting with me. However, the kung fu she's using is a little strange, and I've never seen it before. Besides, it's evil and doesn't seem like an orthodox kung fu. I have to ask Lu Zhu what kind of kung fu it is when I see him later. After all, she's the saintess, and Li Wei might have taught her the demonic technique. What kind of kung fu is that? The people of the 6 major sects were astonished. At that moment, the aura that the saintess exuded was as evil as Li Wei's. I've heard a little about it in the pugilistic world. Li Wei created the supremacy technique. Could it be that it's that terrifying evil technique? Wang Zhini was rather well informed. He stroked his mustache and secretly guessed. The 5th round of the competition ended in bloodshed. I sincerely hope that there will be less bloodshed and more peace in this martial arts competition. Of course, I know I'm a little silly, but I can't help but look forward to it after seeing the scene just now. Li Fan couldn't help but shake his head after hearing his words. How could there be no bloodshed in this martial arts competition that concerned the perfected immortal technique? If it weren't for such an international competition, the pugilistic world would have long been filled with blood. Next is the 6 groups competition. Let's see what kind of competition these 2 contestants will give us. The big screen continued to select the contestants, and soon, Jiang Feng, who was wearing the commander's uniform of the Imperial Guards, appeared on it suavely. Oh, this is a famous person in China. He's very popular, not just in the martial arts world, but also in the hearts of ordinary people. That's because he's the commander of the Imperial Guards, the handsome Grandmaster Jiang Feng, who's only 25 years old. To be honest, if I were a girl, I might have screamed at this moment too. The girls in the spectator stand screamed. Due to Jiang Feng's handsome and cool appearance, he had many female fans. The photo of his opponent was also displayed. It was Long Fengyu. This leader of Whistling West Wind was full of ambition. However, he was too unlucky to have encountered Jiang Feng during the martial arts competition. Oh, we just received a message from contestant Dragon. He has decided to admit defeat and withdraw from the top 16. In that case, Commander Jiang will win without a fight. The female fans screamed even louder, but Li Fan frowned. Although Long Fengyu was very smart and cunning, he wouldn't give up without even trying to probe Jiang Feng's strength, right? He should also have some trump cards. If he fought with his life on the line, it might affect Jiang Feng. Perhaps there was another possibility, and that was that he had joined forces with Jiang Feng, or reached some sort of agreement. In this way, Jiang Feng won perfectly and still retained his strength. On the other hand, Long Fengyu could also hide his trump card and use it at the most crucial moment. What two cunning foxes! Li Fan could not help but laugh bitterly. If the two of them were to join forces, it would really be a little troublesome. The next martial arts competition is between Qing sect leader Wang Zhenyi and heroic martial sect leader, Niu Shuyan. The host announced the name of the next martial arts competition. I think everyone is familiar with the name Qing. Qing sect also practices Taoist martial arts. The sect is located in Sichuan-du Jiangyan's Qing mountain. And his opponent is Niu Shuyan, who is also the senior brother of contestant Li Yun. As the senior brother of the sect leader, I'm afraid this contestant Niu's strength is even more terrifying, right? Niu Shuyan, Li Fan crossed his arms, he wanted to see the strength of this cheap senior brother. Under everyone's expectant gaze, the two of them appeared on the stage. Sect leader Wang did not show any mercy, he immediately used a secret technique. Everyone look, his claw grabbed towards sect leader Niu. This should be their Qing secret technique, dragon capturing hand right. Qing high-level martial art, dragon capturing hand, is said to have the power to subdue dragons and tigers. But his opponent was not a dragon, nor was it a tiger, but a martial artist with the surname Niu. Niu Shuyan did not dodge, instead he took a step forward, followed by a clean straight punch, landing on Wang Zhenyi's lower abdomen. Dong! A muffled sound, Wang Zhenyi's body slid more than a meter away, while Niu Shuyan's fist was still faintly emitting white smoke. Righteous fist. Seeing this familiar move, Li Fan immediately stood up. This was the fist technique of the righteous technique that Takeda created. This Niu Shuyan actually practiced the Japanese Takeda family's martial arts. Fuck! Li Fan wanted to curse. Although everyone in the world practiced the martial arts of the world, a Huaxia person using Japanese martial arts to represent Huaxia in the martial arts competition still made Li Fan very unhappy. The righteous technique was very strong, and Takeda's righteous technique gave Li Fan a headache for a while. But when this Niu Shuyan used it, its power was actually several times stronger. His strength was clearly above that of a grandmaster of a generation. Such a strong expert, whether in Huaxia or Japan, had never had a name. No matter how he thought about it, something was not right. Dragon chip. Li Fan clenched his fist. It seemed that all this was the effect of the dragon chip. Perhaps the reason why this Niu Shuyan could be so strong, comparable to a grandmaster, was all because of the strengthening effect of the dragon chip. Wang Zhenyi, beat him up. Li Fan had never supported Wang Zhenyi so much, this time was an exception. But since he participated in the martial arts competition, he did not even bring his prized treasured sword. How could this Wang Zhini make such a mistake? Everyone in Jianghu knew that Wang Zhini was most proud of his green dragon 9 blades. Isn't he too arrogant? Wang Zhini was forced back by Niu Shuyan's punch, but he did not panic, only somersaulting in the air. Yuan Dangshan, this is the martial arts of Qingqing. Qingqing mountain was steep, so they practiced Qinggong to be able to jump freely in the mountain streams. Wang Zhini's movement technique was the same. He somersaulted in the air and pounced towards Niu Shuyan. Dragon Catcher Hand. Wang Zhini's claw directly grabbed the top of Niu Shuyan's head. With the strength of his claw, even a rock would be crushed. However, Niu Shuyan did not dodge. Instead, he took another step forward and punched again. Righteousness Fist. This was the essence of the righteousness technique that was born from karate, pressing forward with indomitable will, using one's strength to defeat all. This punch caused the air to distort. Wang Zhini's claw collided with it, and was directly distorted. Following that, his whole body was sent flying and fell to the ground. Pfft! Wang Zhini spat out a mouthful of blood. It seemed that he was not going to make it. Li Fan frowned. Both of them were grandmasters. How could Wang Zhini be defeated so easily? Chapter 1621. Your martial arts are powerful, I am impressed. Wang Zhini stood up and took 2 steps back. He held on to his wound and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The new generation excels the old. Looks like it's time for us old guys to give way to the newcomers. Wang Zhini said as he turned and left the arena. He gave up. Admitted defeat. Li Fan was in disbelief. Wang Zhini was an ambitious man. How could he admit defeat so easily? Was Niu Shuyan's strength really strong enough to make him feel like he was looking at a tall mountain? Niu Shuyan. Li Fan remembered this name. He wondered if he would meet this person in the upcoming matches. There was only one match left in the quarterfinals. They didn't need to go through the selections. Liao Ju vs. Fierce White Tiger. Next up is the quarterfinals. The host took out the name list for the last match and started introducing. Without a doubt, every match in the quarterfinals will be exciting. The last match will be highly anticipated as well. Let us welcome the 2 contestants for the last match, Emperor Liao Ju and BWE's Fierce White Tiger. Emperor Liao Ju, this person who should have been killed, was revived with the help of Outland. He wore a golden coat and floated down from the sky. He had the demeanor of an emperor as he landed on the arena. This contestant Liao claims to be the Emperor of China. Before the host could finish, Liao Ju raised a finger and said loudly with a voice imbued with immortal qi. This emperor will gladly accept the champion of this martial arts competition. Emperor Liao's declaration caused an uproar. My God, this contestant Liao Ju is indeed arrogant. He actually said such words. Will he really get what he wants? Or is this just an ordinary demonstration? Opposite him, the highly anticipated ferocious white tiger had also entered the arena. This fierce white tiger was 2 meters tall. He wore a white tight suit with black tiger stripes. On his head, he was also wearing a white tiger mask. This professional wrestler was like a ferocious tiger walking on its hind legs. He looked mighty and extraordinary, and his aura was astonishing. This Emperor Liao sure is arrogant. The bank boss sat in front of the television and sneered, just him alone wants to win against our fierce white tiger. But this is also good. Let him heat up the atmosphere, and in this match, you will become a machine for me to break even. According to the calculations of the German actuary, the white tiger had a very high chance of winning against this martial emperor. It could give him a 50% handicap. Alright, go do it. The bank owner nodded. This time, I want to earn back what I lost. The bets had already been placed. Many people saw that the ferocious white tiger was willing to give up 5. They thought to themselves that since this martial emperor could boast, he must be quite capable. He should be able to hold on for 5 minutes, right? Therefore, a large amount of money began to be injected into the martial emperor. It was as if the bank boss saw a mountain of gold placed in front of him. That's right, throw more money at it. In the end, the money will all end up in my pocket. Seeing the martial monarch's provocation, the fierce white tiger stretched out its right hand and made a throat-slitting gesture. Contestant white tiger has responded to the opponent's provocation. Looks like this will be another bloody battle. With the host's voice, the final round of 16 had officially begun. However, the martial monarch was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he just stood there with his arms crossed and a smile that was not a smile. He looked at the fierce white tiger in front of him as if he was looking at a child, his eyes filled with ridicule. The fierce white tiger suddenly let out a roar and then started to run. Its speed was extremely fast as it closed in on the martial monarch. When he ran to the martial monarch's side, he jumped up and put his feet together. With a beautiful flying kick, he kicked towards the martial monarch's head. What a strong jumping ability. This is a textbook flying kick. The host shouted, the audience is already cheering. I wonder how the martial monarch will respond. The martial monarch was still hugging his arms. Facing the sudden fierce flying kick, he did not move at all. The audience thought that the martial monarch was scared silly, to the point that he did not even know how to dodge. But just when everyone thought that the martial monarch was finished, a golden divine dragon suddenly flew out from behind the martial monarch. This divine dragon was 3 meters long. With a swing of its tail, it sent the fierce white tiger flying. The people in the audience almost exploded. Dragon. This was a real Chinese divine dragon. This man called the martial monarch could actually summon a divine dragon. Unbelievable. It's actually a divine dragon. Looking at the golden divine dragon flying beside the martial monarch, the host and the audience cried out in shock. I can't believe it, is this really a martial art? The people from the 6 great sects all stared with their eyes wide open. Could it be that the martial monarch had also trained in the void to reality technique? No, even if it was the void to reality technique, it would not be able to reach such a level. This emperor is not training in any martial arts. The martial monarch said proudly, this emperor is training in the legendary celestial arts. This emperor is the martial monarch, and what he is training in is the true celestial arts. As he said that, the martial monarch sat on his dragon body and flew up. He floated about a meter in the air as he looked down at the fierce white tiger. What fierce white tiger, in front of this emperor, it is just a little cat. Quickly get up, fierce white tiger. The bank boss felt a chill down his spine as cold sweat appeared on his back. The fierce white tiger wouldn't lose just like that, right? He couldn't lose. If he lost, he would lose so much that he would cry. It's okay, even if that Chinese knew some magic, he wouldn't be a match for our fierce white tiger. After all, he knew about the fierce white tiger's bloodline. He was a true fierce tiger. Under everyone's gazes, the fierce white tiger stood up once again. The fierce white tiger's body also gave off a terrifying aura. Roar! The fierce white tiger roared as his entire body started to swell. In the blink of an eye, he swelled to nearly 3 meters tall. The clothes on his body were torn apart, revealing his original skin. At this moment, fur grew out of the fierce white tiger's skin and the tiger stripes on his body were bright. He tore off his mask and revealed his true tiger head as he stared at the martial monarch who was floating above his head. My view of the world has been turned upside down today. The host swallowed his saliva. I actually saw a fierce tiger. It's a true fierce white tiger. This is a beast from the west. Another voice rang out from the host's platform. The host turned his head in shock and realized that Jiang Feng had unknowingly sat beside him. "Ah, Commander Jiang, can you answer our questions?" "Sure." Jiang Feng nodded his head. He didn't need a microphone, and the entire venue, the 100,000 people, could hear his voice. "Since I'm bored, let me explain it to you." Chapter 1622. Jiang Feng's source of information naturally goes without saying. He naturally knows about the East and the West. Now that he is willing to explain to everyone, the host must be deeply grateful. Sitting here, the host feels that he is no different from the audience. The whole audience is saying words like, "Oh my God, unbelievable, unbelievable." The beast men that you mentioned just now. Is it the kind of beast men that we understand? More or less. Jiang Feng nods and continues to explain. Their genes are different from ordinary people. They belong to a special race in the West. Normally they are no different from ordinary people, but they can transform, just like the fierce white tiger. After transforming, their ability is greatly enhanced, even surpassing real beasts. So, they belong to an underground organization. You can say that. Jiang Feng says with a smile, since everyone has seen it with their own eyes, it should be no harm for me to reveal the secret. These beastmen have had several large-scale battles with ordinary people in the West in the past. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. Therefore, the royal family of the beastmen decided to reach a peace agreement with the humans. From then on, the beastmen are not allowed to invade the humans, and the government also has to protect their right to live normally. I think, this time the fierce white tiger publicly transformed in front of the public. Even if he can defeat the martial emperor, I am afraid that after returning home, he will be punished by the royal family. Pray that our fierce white tiger contestant can be safe. Then what about the martial emperor? Is he really using an immortal technique? It can only be considered as an upgrade of martial arts. Jiang Feng does not want to cause any panic in China, although he knows some of the martial emperor's secrets from Li Fan. As the commander of China's imperial army, he cannot openly cause trouble here. In the internal energy that we practice, when the internal energy is trained to the extreme, it can be released and transform into a certain form to fight. You see, I can also do that. As Jiang Feng spoke, he condensed his inner force, and a 3-meter-tall black tiger man slowly stood up from behind him and roared. This is just a way of releasing our internal energy. It is not an immortal technique. Don't be fooled by that guy who talks big. When Li Fan heard this from the player bench, he couldn't help but give Jiang Feng a thumbs up. This guy hates martial artists very much, but is very kind to ordinary people in the ordinary world. In order not to cause panic, he uses the martial god's true body to confuse the concept. It's really magical. Today is an eye-opener for me. The host praised loudly. It seems that no matter if it's the East or the West, there are some true experts. Yes, the last round of 16 was very exciting. Which one does Commander-in-Chief Jiang favor? As for me, I'm from Huaxia. Objectively speaking, I'm more optimistic about Martial Emperor. Jiang Feng chuckled. However, even if the martial monarch wins, I will personally defeat him in the following matches. As expected of Commander Jiang. Let's wait and see. As the two of them were discussing, the ferocious white tiger returned to its beastman form and attacked the martial monarch once again. He leaped up and pounced towards the martial emperor from the sky. He directly grabbed the divine dragon's tail and threw it to the ground. The martial emperor also landed on the arena and steadied his body. The white tiger had already descended from the sky, its claws tearing towards the martial emperor's body. The martial emperor crossed his arms and continued to stand there. The divine dragon bit the white tiger's body and directly bit off the white tiger's legs. Amidst the screams of the crowd, the martial emperor's divine dragon opened its mouth and spat out half of the white tiger's body. It was all thanks to the beastman's strong body that he was still alive after receiving such an attack. The medical staff rushed over and carried him away. As for the bank's boss, his face was pale as he sat back on his chair. He felt weak all over and broke out in cold sweat. This time, he had lost more than half of his family's assets, and his company was on the verge of bankruptcy. These damn Chinese, why are they so strong? Boss, don't worry, we still have a chance of winning. The actuary's voice was a little lacking in confidence. If he made another mistake, the boss would probably hire a killer to kill him. However, just like he said, they still had number 9. The powerful number 9 would definitely be able to defeat these opponents and win the final victory for them. Let's bet everything on number 9. The boss could only gamble. Number 9 was the hero of the United States, he would definitely not let him down. At this time, he was a little regretful. If he had listened to the Chinese actuary, how good would it have been? He had been strategizing for so many years and had experienced so many storms and waves, but this time, he actually failed. Number 9, my entire family's life is in your hands now. You are a hero, you can definitely save me, right? At this moment, in the arena, the top 16 competition had already ended. The audience still wanted to continue, but when it was time for the intermission, they began to find a place to eat and wait for the afternoon competition to begin. In the afternoon, it was the top 8 competition, and the audience tickets were even more expensive. It was almost impossible to buy. An ordinary standing ticket had been hyped up to 1,000 yuan, and it was still not available. They had never seen such an exciting competition in their lives. This was a battle that truly belonged to the strong. My dear, congratulations on your successful advancement. In Li Fan's lounge, Teresa came to look for him with red wine. What's there to be happy about? There's still more to come. Li Fan hurriedly ate his lunch. Just like breakfast, it was sent to his room by someone. Before the competition, it was right to try to avoid meeting the contestants as much as possible. I don't think it's difficult for you. Teresa thought that Li Fan won very easily, you can definitely pass the top 4. I hope so. Just as Li Fan was about to drive away the clingy Teresa, she said, don't be like this, my dear. The bathroom in my room is broken, and I still have to watch the competition in the afternoon. Can I take a shower here? Don't be like this, my dear. My room's bathroom is broken. I still have to stare at the sun in the afternoon to watch the competition. Can I take a shower here? In any case, Teresa was also an international friend, and he couldn't lose face for the Chinese. If it's just a shower, of course it's not a problem. Hee, my dear, of course it's just a shower. I'm not a casual person. Without red wine, music, and romance, I won't casually make love. You're not casual. Bullshit. Li Fan rolled his eyes, and then pointed to the bathroom next to him. Go, don't delay for too long, I still have the top 8 competition in the afternoon. Don't worry, I'll be quick. Teresa went to take a shower. After she went in, she took off all her clothes, including her underwear, and threw it outside with her white and tender little hand. This woman, just as Li Fan was about to scold her, a familiar voice came from the outside. Li Fan, can I come in? Li Fan was stunned. Fuck, it's the Saintess. Chapter 1623. Li Fan was taken aback. Why did the Saintess look for him at this time? The two of them did have some fate, but it was all in the past. After so long, why did she look for him? Teresa, don't come out. And don't make a sound. I'll send her away soon. If he let Teresa come out now, it might cause some unnecessary misunderstandings. Anyway, he would quickly send the Saintess away, so it was fine to let Teresa hide for a while. Li Fan immediately sent a voice transmission to Teresa in the bathroom and warned her not to come out and mess things up. Although Teresa was a little passionate, she was still a sensible person and knew the proper etiquette. "Why are you looking for me?" Li Fan opened the door, and sure enough, the veiled Saintess was standing outside. As long as Li Fan was willing, he could easily take off the Saintess' veil. But he didn't do so, because it was a little rude. Strength didn't mean everything, and it couldn't be used as an excuse to be willful and unreasonable. However, this didn't mean that he was willing to have too much interaction with the Saintess. After all, Li Fan didn't like the Soul Respect sect from the bottom of his heart. "We're all old acquaintances, shouldn't we communicate our feelings occasionally?" The Saintess reached out and pushed Li Fan into the room, then closed the door. "Hey, this isn't very nice, right? I saw Wang Zhini nearby." The Saintess winked at Li Fan and said in a low voice, "The debt between us has been settled, so why are you still looking for me?" Li Fan had no choice but to sit on his bed, folding his arms and looking at the Saintess opposite him. "It's just to communicate our feelings. If I believe you, I'd be an idiot." "You're the little overlord, are you afraid of me?" The Saintess giggled, but Li Fan rolled his eyes. "Don't try that, we're all experienced people, do you think I'll fall for it?" "Sigh, actually I'm here to discuss the matter of joining hands with you, but it seems like you hate me." The Saintess sighed. As expected, even the little overlord is no different from those people from the 6 great sections. They are all people who can't differentiate between right and wrong. That doesn't sound right, right? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. "Although I'm not a good person, I'm different from those from the 6 great sections." "What's the difference?" The holy maiden looked at Li Fan provocatively. "It's not the first time you've met me, right? But have I ever done anything evil?" The Saintess directly questioned Li Fan. "Not really, that's incredible." The Saintess snorted. "Do you think it's a bad thing that I'm looking for you? Or is it that my crimes are unforgivable, so you want to avoid me like I'm the plague?" "Alright, let's just say that you're right." "What do you mean by forget?" "What I said makes sense." Hearing this, the Saintess did not feel happy. "I want to join hands with you." "Are you afraid?" "What's there to be afraid of?" Li Fan curled his lips. "Don't use these words to provoke me. Just say what you want to say. If what you said is right, it's not like I can't join hands with you. What's wrong? You only need to know that Jiang Feng and Long Fangyu have joined hands, and that Niu Shuyan has also joined hands with Wang Zhini and the others." The Saintess directly asked, "In this martial arts competition, you, as the villa master of the 7 Heroes Villa, the little overlord of Jianghu, can only disguise yourself. It really makes people sigh. You, who are isolated and helpless, need a helper, don't you?" "I'm not isolated and helpless," Li Fan said. "Moreover, I'm not afraid of fighting with them. You're quite amazing to be able to recognize my identity with just a glance. No matter how you change, your eyes are still the same." The Saintess's method of recognizing Li Fan was somewhat unique. "You're always so special. Even after experiencing so many things, in the depths of your eyes, there's still some arrogance hidden. Li Fan, don't tell me you don't feel wronged. Compared to that number 9, you're the real hero, right? But you didn't get the reward you deserve. Instead, you're hiding your head and showing your tail. I'm really unreconciled for you." "I'm fine." Li Fan smiled. "I've personally witnessed China slowly becoming stronger. Now, even Taiwan has been recovered. The motherland is unprecedentedly unified. Even the US Empire has to pay attention to our face. So, what's there to be unhappy about? You know what? In my life, I only admire two people. The saint has stretched out two fingers, one is you, and the other is our sect leader. But the two of you are polar opposites, but in some places, you're surprisingly the same. I'm just myself. However, if you're interested in me, you can follow me. Li Fan smiled. I don't mind accepting a beauty to work for me. Humph, how do you know I'm a beauty? Maybe I'm ugly. A girl's beauty and ugliness, even if they cover their face, can't be hidden. Li Fan said, if a girl is beautiful, she'll be praised in all kinds of ways when she's born. Thus, her demeanor is full of confidence. In this aspect, you're really cunning. The saintess returned to the main topic. Alright, I won't beat around the bush with you. In this competition, I want to join hands with you. How do you want to join hands? Li Fan asked. There will only be one champion in this competition, right? Yes, there will only be one leader. But what if someone is not convinced? The saintess winked at Li Fan. You know, I'm very good at escaping. No matter which one of us wins the championship, I hope you can lend me a hand and escort me out of here. As for the true immortal art, I'll naturally give it to you. You're so confident. What if I win? Then I'll help you leave here. The saintess looked at Li Fan with a smile that was not a smile. Otherwise, do you think that if you win the competition, you can safely leave this place? What? There's someone who wants my life. Li Fan's domineering aura was revealed again. Even if the Martial Emperor and Jiang Feng want to stop me, they have to weigh their own weight. They are only a part of the people. The saintess shook her head. You're always so inconsiderate. In short, trust me this once, I won't cheat you. If you win, I'll escort you out of here, and you have to give me the third page of your true immortal art. If possible, I also want the first page in your hands. The first page is indeed in my hands. Li Fan didn't know why, but looking at the saintess, he has a familiar feeling, especially calm, and subconsciously said this matter. However, I have to tell you, these 2 pages are not good stuff. It's best if you don't cultivate them. Chapter 1624. I'm not the one who wants to practice this. The saintess did not want to hide it from Li Fan. It's our leader. Li Wei. He's actually interested in the perfected immortal technique too. That's right. Back then, he was also very interested in Lu Jinchan's 9 Buddha Sutra and even caused a bloodbath in the martial arts world. Our leader's actions are indeed somewhat unexpected. The saintess found it difficult to explain. In short, there's no way for us to coexist with the orthodox. If we don't do this, they'll come for us sooner or later. The martial arts world has always been a bloodbath. Okay, let's not discuss this for the time being. Li Fan felt that there was no harm in agreeing to the saintess's request. If Li Wei was willing to practice this set of martial arts, he would let him. Anyway, he would be controlled by the heavens beyond after mastering it. He asked for it. I agree to your conditions, hurry and leave. Li Fan was about to chase the saintess back when there was another knock on the door. Li Fan. Open the door. Damn, it's Liang Ru's voice. Li Fan glanced at his room and realized that Teresa was squatting in the bathroom. He couldn't let the saintess meet her in the bathroom. However, he couldn't let the saintess go out now either. Her identity was too sensitive, and it wouldn't be good if Liang Ru saw her and it was leaked. Why don't you leave from the main entrance? Li Fan said. Since there was nothing between the two of them, it wouldn't be a problem for her to go out openly. No. If our matter is leaked, it might affect our plan. The saintess glanced in the direction of the bathroom. I'll hide. Hide under the bed. It's safe. Li Fan stuffed the saintess under the bed without any hesitation. Fortunately, there was a gap under the bed. Otherwise, it would be over. Li Fan laid out the bedsheet and hid the saintess who was hiding underneath. Damn it, there are two girls hiding in a small room. If you don't open the door, I'll kick it open. Liang Ru yelled from outside. Coming, coming. Li Fan had no choice but to check again before obediently opening the door. What are you doing? Clandestine love affair. Why are you opening so late? Liang Ru asked. Steal your sister. There's still a match in the afternoon. Where would I find the time and energy? That's right. If you want to date, you can look for me openly. Liang Ru giggled and said, I can do some exciting things with you. Kissing is also allowed. Is kissing the only exciting thing? You're not married. What else do you want? Liang Ru looked at Li Fan warily. Pervert. Fuck, I haven't said anything yet. Okay, stop flirting with me. There's a match in the afternoon. Go prepare. There were still two living people hidden in Li Fan's room. How could he flirt with Liang Ru here? Why do you keep chasing me away? Do you have an appointment? Liang Ru was very unhappy. Who can I ask out? I plan to train in seclusion. I need to adjust my internal energy. Li Fan said righteously, you too. Instead of taking advantage of this period of time to train, you actually came here to cause trouble. How is this nonsense? This young lady is just missing you. Liang Ru was very unhappy. I'll treat you to a meal after the match. Li Fan rubbed his eyebrows. You still have to come to Li Family Island. According to the requirements, I want to train you and make you into a real imperial sword. Just like how you train your disciple? Liang Ru looked at Li Fan expectantly. I don't object to teacher-student relationships. Quickly let me live for 2 more years. My lady. Li Fan was about to collapse. Liang Ru, this girl, she really wouldn't give up until she saw the Yellow River. I don't care. Teach me now. Not free. I want to learn. I really don't have time. Just as he was dawdling with Liang Ru, someone knocked on the door again. Li Fan, come out. Damn. Li Fan was shocked. Why is Muronging here too? Damn, I only have a short break in the afternoon. Can't I calm down a little? Did these old ladies have an appointment? Fuck. Should they form a party and add a group buff or something before coming again? No, Liang Ru was about to shout, but Li Fan covered her mouth. Stop fooling around. No matter what, she is my fiancée. If you really respect me, don't cause trouble for me. Li Fan transmitted his voice to Liang Ru while glaring at her. Liang Ru felt a little wronged, but Li Fan was right. He had never wanted to have feelings for her. Everything was just her wishful thinking. But this lady will not admit defeat like this. I will hide. Liang Ru pushed Li Fan's hand away and mouthed to him. Li Fan thought about it. Since he had already hidden from 2 of them, 1 more wouldn't make a difference. He did not know why Muronging was looking for him, but since she wanted him to go out, it should only be a few words. Hence, Li Fan let Liang Ru hide behind the curtain. This was the only place to hide. Just as Li Fan hid Liang Ru, the door was suddenly kicked open with a bang. Muronging stood outside and slowly put down her leg. I thought the door was broken. Muronging's indifferent words made Li Fan not know whether to laugh or cry. Damn it, this woman definitely did it on purpose. Why are you here? To catch the adulterer. As Muronging spoke, her eyes suddenly stared at the curtain. She waved her hand, and the curtain flew up, revealing Liang Ru's figure. This was not the end. Muronging frowned and waved her hand again. Li Fan's bed also flew up, revealing the saintess hiding below. Hello, you're here too. Hello, what a coincidence. The saintess's eyes were also a little awkward. There are quite a lot of people. As Muronging spoke, she pulled the bathroom door again. Bang! The bathroom door fell, and a naked French beauty stood on the door, looking at them embarrassedly. If I said I just wanted to borrow the bathroom to take a bath, would you believe me? Li Fan, you sure are happy. Although Murongying's expression was still cold, Li Fan knew that her rage points were definitely full. I wanted to talk to you about joining hands, but it seems that I have disturbed you. With that, Murongying turned around and left without looking back. Li Fan wanted to chase after her to explain, but after thinking about it carefully, he did not do anything. Explain my ass. Whether she believed it or not, that was her own business. Li Fan. Why are there so many women hiding in your room? Liang Ru was also about to explode. Damn, how would I know? Li Fan rolled his eyes. You guys solve it yourselves, I'm going downstairs for a stroll. The competition was about to start, so Li Fan simply went straight to the contestants' area. Just take it as political asylum. The remaining women stared at each other. After a while, Teresa spoke first. Can you pass me the clothes? Chapter 1625. Li Fan couldn't care less about how the women were going to deal with them. He sat in the contestant's seat because the quarterfinals had begun. The auditorium was still crowded, and there was no place for people to stand. Li Fan thought that if he gave them a few ropes, these people would probably dare to sell tickets. Li Fan looked at the big screen, and the positions of the 8 people's avatars were constantly changing. The order of the quarterfinals had to be rearranged and then drawn. He didn't know which strong opponent he would meet this time. Hello everyone, thank you for continuing to sit here and watch the competition in the afternoon. I'm your host, Little Black. The host sat on the high platform and spoke into his microphone, continuing his afternoon hosting. The person sitting next to me is the commander of China's Imperial Army, Jiang Feng. Welcome, Commander Jiang. He is willing to commentate the competition in the afternoon with me. Once again, thank you, Commander Jiang. With you here, I feel more confident. You're welcome. Jiang Feng had a gentle smile on his face. At this time, he even wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, looking very cultured. This is what I should do. Let's witness this afternoon's competition together and see who will be able to get into the semi-finals. Commander Jiang also has a card up his sleeve, right? There are many strong people, I dare not say anything for sure. Jiang Feng said modestly, no matter what, we can still enjoy the wonderful competition. That's true, I am also honored to be today's host and witness. Alright, let's cut the chatter and get back to the competition. After the wonderful and cruel quarterfinals in the morning, we have selected 8 stronger experts. Everyone, please pay attention to the big screen and let us see which 2 experts will be fighting in the first round. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 avatars were selected on the big screen. On the left was Muronging, and on the right was Liang Ru. Fuck, did this task force do this on purpose? Finally, it's my turn. Liang Ru walked to the arena and waved her hand. The sword behind her flew out and danced in front of her. Muronging, today I will defeat your undefeated legend. I am not undefeated. Muronging said very directly, but even so, you are not my opponent. You have potential. Train for a few more years. You're too arrogant. I can't accept this. This is not arrogance, this is the truth. Muronging sighed. If you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you. As she spoke, she placed one hand behind her back and the other in front of her, extending only 2 fingers. Take this. Following the signal to start the match, Liang Ru pointed at Muronging without hesitation. The Shangfang sword immediately shot towards Muronging, tearing the air apart and emitting a sharp whistling sound. Dang! However, Muronging only stretched out 2 fingers and flicked the side of the sword when it was in front of her. The Shangfang sword immediately changed direction and flew to the side. It's a good sword, but it has lost its power. Muronging felt a little regretful. Don't underestimate me. Liang Ru knew that Muronging's strength was not just for show. She did not hesitate and immediately entered the returning sword state. A golden radiance emitted from her body, draping her with a layer of golden battle armor. At this moment, even Liang Ru's hair turned golden, and her pair of golden pupils released a raging battle intent. Oh! It's like this again. The host exclaimed, Commander Jiang, how exactly did Liang Ru do it? The sword in her hand is a divine weapon of our China, called Shangfang sword. Jiang Feng did not hide anything. This sword is a treasure that has been passed down for thousands of years. It represents the identity of our China's guardian. Liang Ru is this generation's guardian. She can inherit the power that the predecessors poured into the sword, but she can only borrow it temporarily. China's guardian. It sounds so impressive. The host could not help but sigh. China's heroic martial sect is indeed full of talents. Not to mention that they have 3 in the top 8, one of them is actually a China's guardian. Then, wouldn't contestant Murong be in danger? Muronging, as the previous martial arts alliance master, has experienced hundreds of battles. When Jiang Feng talked about Muronging, his tone could not help but have a little more respect. She is very amazing. Even I do not have the confidence to defeat her. As expected of the previous martial arts alliance master. What is the outcome of the battle between the 2 beauties? Let us continue to pay attention. At this moment, Liang Ru entered the returning sword state. She was completely reborn, as if she had become a different person. She activated the Shangfang sword and let the sword spin in the air. Then, with a swoosh, it disappeared in front of Muronging. What kind of move is this? It's the illusory sword. Jiang Feng explained, in the previous competition, Liang Ru also used this move. It seems that even the Kongtong sect leader Long was hit by it. It can be said that the more experienced one is in battle, the more effective this move is. Moreover, Liang Ru's control of the illusory sword has also improved. In the morning, her illusory sword could only affect Long Bailey alone. But now, it has affected all the audience who are watching the competition. Can it really be done? Yes, it's similar to a kind of spiritual hypnosis. Jiang Feng gave an affirmative answer. He was also surprised that Liang Ru was quite talented. She had actually used it so skillfully in such a short period of time. Moreover, this Shangfang sword was indeed a divine weapon. If he could obtain it, his strength would increase by a lot, right? Not bad, but it's a pity that it's not enough. As Muronging spoke, she let the Shangfang sword that suddenly flew over from the side directly pierce her body. But she still stood there, safe and sound. Then, she suddenly stretched out 2 fingers and flicked them next to her ear. Clang! Another Shangfang sword was sent flying, and then it disappeared into the void. Clang, clang, clang. Muronging separated the illusory sword several times and flicked the real sword away with ease. How could this be? Liang Ru was a little shocked. Her illusory sword was actually ineffective. Even the Kongtong sect leader couldn't handle it. Oh, this illusory sword seems to be ineffective against contestant Murong. The host exclaimed. It's Alliance Master Murong. Jiang Feng reminded, the new Alliance Master hasn't been elected yet. Murong is still the Alliance Master of Wulin. Moreover, she has already seen the illusory sword once, so she can see through its mystery. There's nothing to be surprised about. Murong also told Liang Ru, you hid your sword very well, but I formed a defensive net with my internal force. I can detect your sword when it's half a meter away from you. Many cherry blossoms appeared around Murong. My eyes can lie to me, and my brain might also lie to me, but internal force won't. Liang Ru wanted to say that it was really scary. She was indeed Murong. If she wanted to defeat her, she would probably have to use her last resort. Chapter 1626. Shangfang Sword. Ancient Sword Soul Return. Liang Ru pushed the power of the Shangfang sword to the extreme. This Shangfang sword floated in front of her and gently swayed. The surrounding power seemed to be attracted and all gathered towards Liang Ru. The sky was originally clear, but at this moment, the sky was filled with dark clouds. In the clouds, there was thunder rumbling, as if it contained some kind of powerful and terrifying energy. Even ordinary people could feel that this move was different. The host wiped his cold sweat and asked Jiang Feng, who was beside him. This. Commander Jiang, what kind of move is this? It feels so terrifying. I'm afraid Liang Ru has used her ultimate technique. Jiang Feng also felt a lingering fear. Even he felt a little flustered when facing such power. As expected of the successor of the Shangfang sword. Once she uses her full strength, it is still very terrifying. Is Alliance Chief Murong in danger? The host was a little worried. If this continued, would someone die? What are you worried about? Jiang Feng smiled and said, she is the Alliance Chief of the martial world. Perhaps, she is also the strongest woman in the world. As he spoke, a bolt of lightning suddenly descended from the sky. With a gotcha sound, it struck Liang Ru's body. However, Liang Ru was safe and sound. The golden light on her body became even more dazzling. At this moment, Liang Ru's body seemed to be wearing a golden armor. Her body floated in the air and she stepped on the Shangfang sword. Is she a sword immortal? The host was finally shocked. It's just a way of using her inner strength. Jiang Feng could see that Liang Ru's inner strength was wrapped around her sword, allowing her to float in the air. She has become a little stronger. Murong nodded, she does have the bearing of a grandmaster. After the second eruption, Liang Ru forcefully raised her strength to the level of a grandmaster. However, Liang Ru did not care because she knew that practicing martial arts was not opportunistic. Even if Liang Ru raised the strength of a grandmaster, she was still not her match. She relied on the experience of those ancestors, but not her own experience. With a wave of Liang Ru's hand, 9 swords appeared and revolved around her. Each of the swords was formed from a huge amount of energy. Liang Ru pointed at Murong and one of the swords immediately flew over and shot towards Murong. Murong frowned slightly. She raised her hand, and a wall made of cherry blossoms rose 2 meters high from the ground. It stood in front of Murong, blocking the sword. Boom! When the treasured sword landed on it, it exploded violently like a missile. Murong cherry blossom wall was blown to pieces. She slid backward for more than a meter before she slowly steadied herself. Interesting. Even Murong couldn't help but praise him. Continue. Liang Ru could not maintain this state for long. She immediately activated her sword and continued to chase after Murong. Boom boom boom. The treasured swords exploded around Muronging one after another. However, Muronging was Muronging. She used her unique advantage to make the cherry blossoms protect her, constantly blocking the bombardment of the treasured swords. No matter how powerful Liang Ru's treasured swords were, she only had 9. After Liang Ru finished bombarding the area, she still had 3 treasured swords left. They floated around her as she waited for the next round of attacks. "You are like a child holding a pistol." Muronging sighed. "You have the power, but you don't know how to use it. I'll go back and practice." With that said, Muronging suddenly flashed and appeared in front of Liang Ru. After all, she was an expert with strength at least at the half-sage realm. Once Muronging got serious, Liang Ru was no match for her. Upon seeing Muronging suddenly appear, Liang Ru subconsciously activated the 3 treasured swords and shot them at Muronging. With Muronging's movement techniques, it was easy for her to dodge the 3 treasured swords. However, Muronging preferred to fight head-on, using her absolute strength to do the talking. Muronging condensed the dragon and phoenix swords and held them in her hands. Instantly, she stabbed out 3 times. Boom! 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 Liang Ru's 3 treasured swords exploded in midair, but the explosive waves were swept away by Muronging's sword beams. Realizing that her moves were ineffective, Liang Ru felt a little helpless. As for Muronging, she stabbed Liang Ru's acupoints twice consecutively. Liang Ru felt the strength in her body immediately loosen, as though there was a funnel in her body. She could not stop it even if she wanted to. She watched helplessly as her strength plummeted. The difference was too great. Liang Ru finally understood this point, but she was still indignant. She was extremely indignant. Sooner or later, "I will defeat you. Let's talk about it when that day really comes." Muronging kept the surrounding cherry blossoms and then pushed her hand. Liang Ru's body flew out uncontrollably and landed outside the stage. "Thank you both for sending us a wonderful round of matches." The host and the audience were having a great time watching the match. The battle between the 2 beauties was full of beauty and power. The final winner is indeed Alliance Master Murong. Jiang Feng chuckled, "If there is a chance, I really look forward to a battle with her." The first round of the quarterfinals has ended with Alliance Master Murong's victory. The host loudly announced, "Let us congratulate Alliance Master Murong. Please also give a round of applause to the young contestant Liang Ru. Her performance today was also very outstanding." Thunderous applause sounded from the stands. Everyone was convinced. The match between the 2 was very interesting. Even if it was a girl, there was no feeling of inferiority. Some of the female audience were even more excited. Who said that girls were inferior to guys? Wasn't there a heroine, Muronging? The next match's name list is out. Let us take a look. The host looked at the big screen and exclaimed, The second match is actually between Commander Jiang and the sect leader of the heroic martial sect, Niu Shuyan. I'll take my leave for a while." Jiang Feng bowed to the audience and then jumped down from the 10-meter-tall stage. Using his qin gong, he slowly landed on the stage, causing the screams of the female fans and the applause of the male audience. Li Fan could not help but praise. This Jiang Feng really knew how to act cool. Jiang Feng will definitely lose this match. Li Fan received the Saintess's secret sound transmission. Oh. Why do you think so? Li Fan also used the secret sound transmission and sent it to the Saintess's contestant seat. This kind of communication method was much more convenient than QQ or WeChat within a certain distance. Is that sect leader Niu really that strong? I don't know if sect leader Niu is strong or not. But Jiang Feng is a member of the government. The government does not want him to win against Niu Shuyan. Chapter 1627. What the heck, fake fight. Li Fan finally reacted, but this was too much of a scam. Really? This is a competition supervised by the Sky Martial Court. If someone fake fight, wouldn't the Sky Martial Court take action? If he wants to admit defeat, the Sky Martial Court can't do anything about it. If they really had the right to speak, they wouldn't have agreed to cooperate with the government. Also, this isn't the first match. Didn't you see the way Wang Zhen lost before? That's too much of a scam. Li Fan was somewhat indignant. Jiang Feng was considered an expert, but he actually had to fake fight under pressure. It's not easy to survive in the system. It's Jiang Feng's choice whether it's good or bad. Let's just watch the competition. The Saintess had seen through all of this. She sat on her sofa and watched the battle outside. Niu Shuyan walked out wearing the heroic martial sect's uniform. When he appeared, many people cheered for him. In the previous battles, his clean and efficient fighting style made everyone a little fond of him. But if they knew that Niu Shuyan was using Japan's Takeda family's righteous fist, who knows what they would think. Your Excellency's martial arts are very exquisite. I, Jiang Feng, am here to seek advice. Jiang Feng cupped his hands and said to Niu Shuyan. Please. Niu Shuyan tightened his belt and beckoned Jiang Feng over. Your Excellency, please. Jiang Feng modestly said. As expected of the commander of the royal army. Modest and gentlemanly. The host couldn't help but praise, but our contestant Niu doesn't seem to be too polite. After all, this is a martial arts competition. Everything depends on martial arts. Niu Shuyan took a big step forward and threw a punch straight at Jiang Feng's chest. Jiang Feng's body moved to the side and avoided Niu Shuyan's fist. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and pushed Niu Shuyan's shoulder, causing Niu Shuyan to stagger forward and almost fall. But Niu Shuyan was also a grandmaster. He stomped on the ground with his left foot and kicked with his right foot, causing Jiang Feng, who was about to come over, to take 2 steps back. Sect Master Niu has great skills. Jiang Feng was still holding a fan in his hand. He opened the fan with a snap and gently fanned himself. I, Jiang Feng, have met many martial artists in my life, but you have left a deep impression on me. I have a feeling that I might lose to you. My divine technique is complete. I'm invincible. After sect leader Niu steadied himself, he looked at Jiang Feng and sneered, even manner lordly from whatever manner wouldn't last more than a few moves against me. I have the most powerful combat experience and this most direct combat martial art. Even if you are the commander of the Imperial Army, can your status be compared to me, the sect leader of the heroic martial sect? Your Excellency is right. Jiang Feng slightly bowed towards sect leader Niu. The heroic martial sect is a rising new sect, its future is limitless. As long as you know. Niu Shuyan pointed at Jiang Feng, within 3 moves, I will beat you until you can't get up. Please enlighten me. Jiang Feng extended his hand and invited. Niu Shuyan immediately stepped forward and ran forward, followed by a flying kick. With the speed of a missile, he kicked towards Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng raised his fan horizontally and blocked in front of him, blocking Niu Shuyan's kick. But Niu Shuyan's strength seemed to be very strong. The kick caused Jiang Feng to retreat 2 steps. Niu Shuyan took advantage of the situation and followed up, punching towards Jiang Feng's chest. Jiang Feng once again used his fan to block, but this time the fan was pierced through. Niu Shuyan's fist also landed on Jiang Feng's chest. Bam! Jiang Feng slid a meter away, but Niu Shuyan followed up again. He raised his leg and chopped down, smashing Jiang Feng's head. With a muffled sound, Jiang Feng was beaten to the ground. How is it? Do you know how powerful I am? Niu Shuiyan crossed his arms and looked at Jiang Feng proudly. Your Excellency's strength is abnormally strong. I, Jiang Feng, admit that I am inferior. Jiang Feng stood up again and wiped off the bloodstain at the corner of his mouth. We are all martial artists, so we should stop when necessary. I am not as good as you, so I admit defeat. With that, he cupped his hands at Niu Shuiyan, then turned around and used his qinggong to stick to the wall of the high platform. With a few swishes, he landed next to the host. The host was still a little confused. This. Does Commander Jiang admit defeat? Yes. Jiang Feng smiled warmly. His voice was soft, but it spread throughout the scene. Leader Niu is a martial arts genius that appears once in 100 years. His skill is so high that I have rarely seen it in my life. Commander Jiang is really generous. The host was impressed. I came here today just to join in the fun. Jiang Feng said, I don't practice martial arts for the sake of being competitive. As long as I can protect the safety of every citizen, that's the happiest thing for me. With an expert like Commander-in-Chief Jiang here, we also feel much safer. The host immediately flattered, let's congratulate Niu for winning the top 8. It seems that he is the seeded contestant for today's championship battle. Niu Shuiyan stood there, stretched out a finger and said loudly, today, there is an idiot called Martial Emperor who said that he will become the champion. I, Niu Shuiyan, will tell him that he is just dreaming. Because the champion throne will only belong to my heroic martial sect, Niu Shuiyan. Niu Shuiyan's provocation was liked by many youngsters. They felt that this was the domineering and awe-inspiring style that a true martial artist should have. Did you see that? The Saintess's voice once again rang in Li Fan's ears. Li Fan became silent. Even if he did not want to admit it, he had to agree with the Saintess's point of view. Jiang Feng did not even use his true strength. Niu Shuiyan only casually won the match. The martial arts tournament had actually become dirty. The contestants for the next match have also come out. The host looked at the big screen and announced loudly, in the previous match, Leader Niu challenged Martial Emperor, Liao Ju, and his opponent, Only Me Sect Saintess. What did you say? Saintess forfeited. The spectators sighed. What's the point of winning without a fight? But the Saintess is not stupid. She got the news from Li Fan that Martial Emperor actually trained in the true immortal art. How can she defeat him? Rather than being heavily injured by Martial Emperor, she might as well conserve her strength and leave it for later. Alright, although everyone is regretful, this is the contestants' own choice. The organizing committee respects them and I ask the spectators to respect them. For those spectators who have not had their fill, it doesn't matter. Our next match will be even more exciting. China's heroic martial sects Li Yun versus America's hero number 9. The entire audience was thunderous. Even the bank boss who was sitting in front of the television could not sit still anymore. Ha ha ha, my number 9 has come out. This time, he will definitely win back all my money. Chapter 1628. When number 9 goes out, he is equivalent to 2. This is the concept of the bank boss. And the actuary's calculation is number 9 against Li Yun, giving him a handicap of 5. Handicap of 5. What a joke, that is number 9. The powerful number 9. The bank boss is practically shouting, did you see how he defeated the Shaolin monk? Isn't Shaolin the number 1 sect in China? Handicap of 5. I think handicap of 3 is enough. That's safer. The actuary hurriedly explains, after all, Li Yun's performance in the previous competition was not bad. He defeated Bai Sen, he has this kind of strength. Alright, let's do as you say. Thinking that this Chinese martial artist defeated the powerful boxing champion by sin, the boss's attitude softens a little. No matter what, we have to get people to bet on Li Yun. The higher the audience's expectations of him, when number 9 wins, the more money I will win. Boss, 62% of the money is invested on Li Yun. The underling reports. Very good. It seems that everyone has high expectations of Li Yun. The bank boss is very satisfied. This time, not only can I earn back my capital, I can also earn back double the profit. No one can win against the powerful number 9. No one. You're right. The actuary kept on sucking up to him. And on the television, that contestant Li Yun has already arrived on the stage. Standing in front of him is number 9 dressed in black and gold battle attire. You give me a very familiar feeling. Number 9 looks at Li Fan with a suspicious look. You look like someone I have seen before. How could that be? I am just an ordinary Chinese martial artist. Li Fan conceals his identity. However, you seem to have some misunderstanding about our Chinese martial arts. Today I can take this opportunity to let you know our Chinese martial arts. Saying that, he stretches out his hands and makes a pose. Although I am in the heroic martial sect, I was fortunate enough to go to the 7 Heroes sect to practice a set of 7 Heroes fist. Please teach me. Chinese martial arts, showy but impractical. Number 9 does not hesitate to ridicule. I have once met a so-called powerful Chinese martial artist, claiming to be the strongest in China. In the end, he was defeated by my fist. If there is anyone in Huaxiao who can make me look at him in a different light, it would at most be that martial emperor. He is very powerful. Since that's the case, allow me to seek your guidance. As Li Fan spoke, he cupped his hands towards number 9, heroic martial sect's Li Yun. Please advise me. The competition hasn't even started, but the 2 contestants are already at daggers drawn. The host continued to hype up the atmosphere. Commander Jiang, who do you think will win this match? These 2 are both very strong. Jiang Feng held back his laughter and said, I think everyone has seen the fighting strength of the heroic martial sect. Hero no. 9 from the United States was not to be underestimated either. To be honest, I don't care who wins. I'm more concerned about how exciting this competition will be. Since Commander Jiang has said so, let's wait and see. Needless to say, Contestant 9 was extremely popular in the match between Contestant 9 and Li Yun. Li Yun also defeated the powerful boxing king, by sin, in the previous competition. The battle between the 2 of them should be very satisfying. Come, I'll let you make the first move. Contestant 9 crossed his arms and stood there, as if he didn't care about Li Fan. Alright, I won't be polite. As Li Fan spoke, he leaped and suddenly appeared in front of Contestant 9. Contestant 9 didn't care at all. The Chinese martial artists were fast, but what use was that? Black Tiger fiercely climbing the mountain. Li Fan consecutively attacked Contestant 9's chest, chin, and finally his head. Bang! Li Fan pressed Contestant 9's head onto the ground, causing Contestant 9's body to be pressed down, and his entire body was pressed into the ground. Seeing Contestant 9's head being smashed into the ground, the host exclaimed. Contestant 9 was actually smashed into the ground. Is he going to lose? I don't think it's that easy. Jiang Feng was more like an excellent commentator. With Contestant 9's physical strength, this kind of attack is just a greeting to him. Just as Jiang Feng finished speaking, Contestant 9 had already stood up from the ground. At the same time, he patted the dust off his body as if nothing had happened. Just like that. Contestant 9 asked coldly. What's the rush? Li Fan wasn't surprised. Just now I only used 10% of my strength. Why don't you try taking 50% of my strength? So what if I let you hit me 3 times? Contestant 9 was very arrogant. Come. Alright. Li Fan stepped forward again. This time, he directly slammed his palm onto Contestant 9's chest. Dragon Spitting Pearl. As Li Fan's voice fell, a powerful force exploded from Contestant 9's back. Contestant 9 bent his waist and slid back half a meter. However, he still managed to stabilize his body. There's still one more move. Li Fan placed both of his hands in his pocket and looked at Contestant 9 with a smile. Next time. Use 80% of my strength. How about it? So what if it's 100%? Contestant 9 snorted coldly. The attacks of you Chinese martial artists are only so. Alright, then I'll do as you say. Use 100%. Li Fan followed his advice. Then you have to endure it. Don't get beaten to death or else it won't be fun. Li Fan took a step forward, raised a powerful internal force in his palm, and directly slammed it towards number 9. Ape King Cannon. Contestant 9's brows suddenly furrowed. As for Li Fan's palm, it had already landed solidly on his body. Dong! Contestant 9's body turned into a cannonball and flew out, smashing heavily into the distance. Finally, with a bang, Contestant 9's body was embedded into the wall of the stage. Luckily he didn't land on the ground and wasn't out of the stage. Contestant 9's mouth turned red. He was actually injured. His eyes were closed as if he had fainted. Contestant 9 is injured. How is that possible? Something must have gone wrong. The bank boss couldn't sit still anymore. He shouted, "Get someone to check on that Li Yun. Did he consume some prohibited substance?" Oh right, Chinese people like to use prohibited items the most. Li Yun is definitely not an exception. Li Fan looked at Contestant 9 who was embedded in the wall and was about to continue his attack. At this moment, the MC spoke loudly. Sorry. I have received a notice from the International Martial Arts Committee. They suspect that Contestant Li Yun used prohibited items and want to conduct a urine test. Nonsense. A gray-robed Sky Martial Pavilion elder who was standing at the side finally couldn't take it anymore. He scolded, "What bullshit International Martial Arts Committee? They are nothing. Since when did they have the right to interfere in our Chinese martial arts competition? Furthermore, martial artists have their own honor. They wouldn't use any prohibited items. Yes, make them scram. What International Martial Arts Committee? Never heard of it." Chapter 1629. Everyone, I am the representative sent by the International Martial Arts Committee. A man in a black suit walked out and raised his staff card. As a member of the committee, we have a legitimate reason to investigate Contestant Li Yun's urine sample. If he used prohibited items, then we will have to disqualify him. The competition is organized by our Sky Martial Pavilion. It has nothing to do with you. The Sky Martial Pavilion elder was not afraid of the people from the committee. Don't point fingers at us. Scram. Looks like your Chinese side is not willing to cooperate. The man in the suit pushed his spectacles. I have reason to suspect that you are rigging the competition. It is extremely unfair to our foreign martial artists. I think you are tired of living. The Sky Martial Pavilion elder did not seem to have a good temper. Perhaps he had reached his limit. The alliance leader election turned out to be like this. Now even cats and dogs came to interfere. This was intolerable. It's okay, elder. Li Fan turned around and looked at the man in the suit. How do you want to check my urine sample? Do you want me to let you have a taste of my urine now? Rude. The man in the suit was a little angry. Since you are a martial artist, you have the obligation to cooperate with our International Martial Arts Committee's investigation. I am a Chinese martial artist. I am not a martial artist affiliated with your committee. Li Fan emphasized, a committee that does not have any Chinese people in it. Do you have the cheek to control me? Say that I use prohibited items. Do I need to? As Li Fan spoke, he raised his elemental energy. His body emitted a silver stream of energy, flowing out from his pores. What are you trying to do? Just teaching you the rules. Li Fan was known as the Little Tyrant. How could he admit defeat at this moment? China's martial artists have their own set of rules. Since you do not respect the sacred competition of China, don't blame me for being impolite. As he spoke, he opened his mouth and took a deep breath. At this moment, Li Fan's Tai Chi diagram began to revolve rapidly. It was as if there was a huge exhaust fan on the ground. The surrounding air was all swallowed by Li Fan. Scram! Li Fan took a deep breath and shouted. A huge wave of air directly blew the person from the organizing committee away. In the blink of an eye, he flew more than 10 meters away and fell heavily on the auditorium. Who dares to disrespect our Huaxia's martial arts competition? This is the result. Li Fan said loudly, I don't care which gang you belong to. Since you are in Huaxia, you must abide by Huaxia's rules. That's right. Number 9, who was leaning against the wall, finally opened his eyes. You're very strong. I underestimated you before. Number 9 said, you have the strength to fight me. As he spoke, he slowly pulled out his hands and feet from the wall. Although he was awake, the bank boss's entire body was numb. 5 minutes. These 5 minutes have already passed. The only chance now was for number 9 to win. Once he won, the boss would be able to collect some money from the other bet, more or less filling the hole. Number 9 seemed to be enraged. As long as he was serious, that Li Yun would definitely not be a match for him. After a small farce, the competition has finally begun again. The host wiped his cold sweat. He didn't expect Li Yun to be so strong. He actually chased away the people from the International Martial Arts Committee. Furthermore, he did it in such a violent way. Although he was still a bit worried, the host was secretly happy. Now that the Huaxia people were competing, once they won the competition, there would be this committee or that committee that would appear and insist on checking if the Huaxia people had used banned substances. Check his motherfucker. It was natural for the Westerners to win the competition, but there was a problem when the Huaxia people won. It was the same in the previous sports meet. All kinds of misjudgments and illegal referees caused a lot of athletes to lose their championship. This time, Li Yun had avenged everyone's resentment. You're very strong. I will use all my strength to defeat you. As number 9 said that, he descended from the sky and stomped towards Li Fan. But Li Fan just stood there and raised both of his hands to receive this stomp. Bam! The stage beneath Li Fan's feet started to collapse, and number 9 was lifted into the air. Following that, Li Fan grabbed number 9's legs with both of his hands and used a bear strike wrestling technique, smashing number 9 to the ground. Kaboom! With a loud sound, number 9's body left a huge pit on the ground. Interesting. Number 9 didn't seem to be injured. This fall only caused him some pain. Very good, you're a good opponent. Number 9 leaped up and at the same time, punched towards Li Fan. This punch was extremely fast, as if it broke through the air. Crane hand. With a crane hand, Li Fan slapped away number 9's fist. Good. Number 9 was overjoyed. He threw over 10 punches, but they were all slapped away by Li Fan's crane hand. In front of Li Fan, it was as if there was a half-meter wide defensive net. No matter how number 9 attacked, he couldn't get within half a meter of him. There's actually a martial artist like you in China. Amazing. Number 9 finally felt that a martial artist was a bit interesting, but this is not enough to defeat me. Number 9's body was even stronger than Superman. He suddenly threw out another punch, and a huge fist wind immediately blew up. Kaboom! Half of the stage disappeared under the power of this punch. The surrounding spectators were all excited. This was really such a strong strength. Humans, could they really do it to this extent? Motherfucker. Really strong. Lu Buffon couldn't help but stare with his eyes wide open. Is this the fucking strength that a human should have? Ha ha ha, eat this. That Chinese brat should have turned into ashes by now. The bank boss in front of the live broadcast also laughed happily. But very quickly, he couldn't laugh anymore. Because a figure was slowly appearing from the rolling smoke. So that's how it is. Li Fan's hands were still in his pockets, as if he was deep in thought. In the end, I still perfectly fused with the dragon gene. And I'm getting more and more proficient. Dragon gene. Number 9 looked at his right hand that had turned into a dragon claw and seemed to understand some things. But this is also my strength. Saying that, he threw another punch at Li Fan. But this time, Li Fan didn't dodge. Instead, he went forward and put his palm on number 9's fist. Both of their fists and palms added together. Their strength finally collided. Bang! The stage below the two of them continued to collapse. The powerful strength quickly spread out. Chapter 1630. With a loud bang, the surrounding ground started to shake. The elders of the Sky Martial Pavilion stepped forward one after another. Every one of them opened their arms and released their own inner energy. They connected together and formed a defensive net, blocking the power of Li Fan and number 9 within it, allowing the audience to be spared. These two people are too scary. The host looked at the battle with his mouth agape. He could feel the ground shaking. It was obvious how scary these two people were. They are both top-notch super experts. Jiang Feng felt the power of the two of them and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. They actually exploded with power close to that of a saint. However, Li Fan probably hadn't used his full strength yet, right? This number 9 seemed to have a lot of potential. The United States was really awesome this time. They actually developed such a sick monster. Compared to this number 9, their previous Zeus plan and this and that were all child's play. When the smoke dissipated, number 9 was half kneeling on the ground. His body was emitting black smoke. He seemed to have suffered serious injuries. And Li Fan stood opposite him. His clothes were a little charred, but he was fine. He was looking at number 9 and cupped his hands. Thank you. The host was doubtful. Does this mean that number 9 lost? It looks like number 9 has lost. Jiang Feng looked at the messy arena. I wonder if he can continue fighting. There were sighs of regret around. There were many people cheering for number 9. However, number 9 was still kneeling there, not moving. The bank boss had already taken out a gun from his drawer and was prepared to commit suicide. The judge was also preparing to announce the result. Just at this moment, a girl shouted from the stands. Stand up, number 9. It was Windsor. Hearing this voice, number 9's body shook slightly. Then, he slowly opened his eyes. He stood up bit by bit and moved his muscles and bones. There were cheers all around. They were all celebrating for number 9. His popularity was indeed not just for show. Not bad. Li Fan also praised, you are totally different from when I first saw you. Look at how popular you are now. You seem to know me. Number 9 rubbed his neck, but it doesn't matter. I just need to defeat you. Why must I win? I feel that you don't seem to have any interest in being number 1 in the world, right? Li Fan felt a little strange. Because only by defeating you can I realize the value of my life. Number 9 says, I'm different from you, so I have to defeat you. As soon as he finished speaking, the muscles on number 9's body rippled, and black scales grew on his skin. Very soon, a massive dragon person that was close to 3 meters tall stood in front of Li Fan. He had a pair of horns on his head, and his yellow eyes stared at Li Fan, giving off a powerful killing intent. The surrounding cheers turned into gasps of surprise. Number 9's change caught them off guard. But not long after, wild cries rang out again, as if they were even more excited about number 9's change. This was a martial arts arena. No matter how dangerous it was below, the one who was in danger was his opponent. And they were spectators, crazy for violence, cheering for blood. The bank boss also shed tears of excitement. Now, he didn't have to die. But at this moment, he was filled with regret. If only he had listened to that Chinese actuary earlier, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Brother, we still have a chance, right? The bank boss said to the German actuary beside him, but the latter couldn't answer him. This brother had already hung himself. Number 9 is very strong, and he has dragon blood in him. He definitely won't lose. I need to rely on him to turn the tables. That's right. As he spoke, number 9 had already let out a roar. A huge wave of air surged out, causing the surrounding audience to feel slightly dizzy. Is this also a Western orc? The host couldn't help but ask in surprise. It should be. Jiang Feng naturally knew that he had Li Fan's genes in his body, and this was Li Fan's dragon blood. But there were some things that he could say, and some he couldn't. This matter, he definitely couldn't say it. He couldn't possibly tell the people that number 9 was a super weapon that the United States had collected the genes of Chinese experts, right? Is it the orcs or our Chinese martial artists who are stronger? Let's wait and see. Everyone was indeed looking forward to it. Meanwhile, the battle between Li Fan and number 9 was still ongoing. As the last round of the quarterfinals, the battle between the two of them seemed to have ignited the climax of today's competition. Number 9 suddenly opened his mouth and rushed towards Li Fan. Li Fan frowned, feeling a threat. Number 9 spat out a bluish-white frost, instantly freezing half of the arena. Li Fan's body was also within it, and he was directly frozen into an ice sculpture. He stood there motionlessly, while number 9 leaped over, and the tail behind him swung heavily towards the ice sculpture. Bang! The ice sculpture was directly smashed, and the surrounding audience cried out in alarm. The supporters also shouted, "Oh my God, could it be that contestant Li Yun died just like that? Where are you looking at?" Jiang Feng stretched out his hand and pointed, "Isn't he standing there perfectly fine?" The host was surprised, and number 9 also turned his head in shock, looking behind him. Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed. And the ice that was just smashed was just an ordinary ice cube. What Li Fan had left behind was an afterimage, and it was condensed with his energy, which was why it was frozen. But in an instant, the energy dissipated, and although the ice sculpture was frozen, the person was long gone. Roar! Number 9 roared, and with a stomp of his feet, the ground cracked, and in an instant, he was in front of Li Fan, and opened his mouth, directly biting towards Li Fan. Li Fan stretched out his hands, and directly grabbed number 9's mouth, flipped him over, and smashed him onto the ground. Li Fan's own strength had long surpassed the saint rank, and after this number 9 evolved, he also had the strength of a saint rank, and did not know any martial arts, so he still could not do anything to Li Fan. "You're still too inexperienced." As Li Fan said this, a dragon-shattering hand directly penetrated number 9's steel-like skin, and pierced into the position of his chest, directly pinching number 9's heart. As killing was not allowed in the competition, Li Fan did not take out number 9's heart. And he believed that with number 9's vitality, even if he pulled out his heart, he would not necessarily die. After all, he was a modified human, different from ordinary people. Li Fan only pinched number 9's heart, and infused his own energy into it, causing number 9's heart to stop for 5 seconds. This was more effective than hitting number 9's acupuncture points, and number 9's body suddenly stiffened. Li Fan immediately lifted his body, and threw him out of the arena. Chapter 1631. Number 9 should have been frozen for at least 4 to 5 seconds, but when he was about to hit the ground, he suddenly moved. He swept his tail and stabbed it into the stage, forcefully stabilizing his body. At the same time, he grabbed Li Fan's body and smashed him to the ground. Pang! The ground cracked once again, and Li Fan's body lay inside. Number 9 beat Li Fan up crazily. His fists, legs, and tail attacked Li Fan so hard that he couldn't fight back at all. Jiang Feng looked at the battle below and muttered in his heart. Facing such a troublesome number 9, what should Li Fan do? Could he beat him without exposing his identity? It would probably be very difficult. Even if it was him, if he didn't use Shura transformation, he probably wouldn't be number 9's match. How could he beat him without killing him? Li Fan, I want to see what you can do. Fight! Kill him! The bank boss shouted crazily in front of the TV, and number 9's attacks became fiercer and fiercer. The surrounding ground was shaken to the point that a spider web pattern appeared. Number 9 finally opened her mouth, preparing to add a layer of ice to Li Fan. Right at this moment, Li Fan suddenly leaped up and kicked number 9's chin fiercely with both feet, sending number 9 flying backward as he spat out a stream of frost directly into the sky. Rushing thunder kick. Li Fan used the deer strike technique. His legs were covered in lightning as he continuously kicked number 9's body. Number 9 kept retreating, and his body also entered a slightly numb state. What Li Fan was best at was a series of continuous skills. After he finished kicking, he turned around and kicked. With a white deer reverse kick, the heel of his foot landed on number 9's head, sending him to the ground with a kick. The ground was once again smashed into a pit. Dragon spitting pearl. Li Fan condensed a silver-white ball of light in his hands and pushed it into the crater, hitting number 9's body. Kaboom! The ground trembled, and number 9 finally spat out a large mouthful of blood. This move had injured him quite badly. Although he had steel-like dragon skin, it was useless under Li Fan's devastating attacks. For a martial grandmaster, Li Fan's usage of penetrating force was a piece of cake. Bear King raises the cauldron. Li Fan grabbed number 9's huge body again and lifted it into the air. Following that, Li Fan's arms thickened, and his muscles bulged. Father Bear Pile Driver. Li Fan grabbed number 9 and jumped up high. Then, he turned his head around and smashed it into the ground. Before number 9 could react, Li Fan pulled him out of the ground with a wild bear hug and placed him in front of him. Ape King Cannon. Li Fan took a horse stance and struck out another palm strike. Boom! Number 9's body turned into a cannonball, immediately bouncing off and smashing heavily outside the arena, creating a row of gullies on the ground. Number 9 leaped up and let out a wild roar. But at this time, he had already lost. Come back, number 9. You've already lost. Windsor's voice rang out again, entering number 9's ears. Number 9 immediately lowered his head, and his blood-red eyes regained some clarity. Windsor heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, number 9 wasn't impulsive. Looks like today's last match of the top 8 has ended with number 9's defeat. The host's voice rang out again, echoing around the entire arena. Number 9 looked at Li Fan a few more times, then slowly turned back into his human form and walked towards his own contestant area. What an exciting battle. Our fighting ring has also become tattered. We have a day to rest tonight. Let's look forward to tomorrow's semi-finals and finals. This is the Huaxia Martial Arts Competition. Thank you, contestants, for your exciting battles. Thank you, Commander-in-Chief Jiang, for your commentary. Thank you, everyone, for watching. In front of the television, the bank boss had already committed suicide. Li Fan walked towards his resting room, but a staff member stopped him. Mr. Li, your room has been changed. Please head to the 5th floor. This is your room card. The staff member passed the room card to Li Fan. Li Fan was a little puzzled. Why did they change rooms every day? He came to the room on the 5th floor and went in to take a look. He realized that it was a very luxurious suite with extremely modern facilities. It was almost at the standard of a 6-star hotel. The conference is really extravagant, but wool comes from the sheep. Thinking of the daily ticket money and the online broadcasting rights, Li Fan knew that the organizing committee must have earned a lot this time. But no matter how good the house was, it was meaningless to Li Fan. He sat on the sofa and immediately closed his eyes to regulate his breathing. At this moment, the phone rang in Li Fan's room. Strange, who is looking for me? And how did they find my room? Li Fan saw a remote control beside him. There was a button on it, so he pressed it. The television screen in front of him lit up and a man appeared on the screen. This man looked to be in his 40s and was a little balding. He sat in front of the table with his hands propped up. With a little arrogance, he looked at Li Fan with a serious face. Nice to meet you. I'm the chief of the Martial Arts Bureau. You can call me Chief Nyo. After the other party finished speaking, he seemed to be waiting for Li Fan to say some flattering words. But Li Fan just sat there and just shrugged his shoulders. Oh, Chief Nyo. What's the matter? Chief Nyo frowned slightly. He seemed to be very dissatisfied with Li Fan's attitude. What kind of attitude is this? This is the chief of the Martial Arts Bureau. There was a bespectacled man who looked like a secretary on the screen. He immediately reprimanded Li Fan. Is this how you treat your superior? You really don't know etiquette. This is interesting. Li Fan chuckled. I'm not working under you. Why should I be respectful to you? So what if you're a leader? Don't forget that you're also a leader elected by the people. Why, are you putting on airs in front of the people? You! Don't talk nonsense. The secretary was about to reprimand him, but Chief Nyo waved his hand and stopped him. You are indeed not my subordinate. But since you're a member of the martial arts world, you should be under the control of our Martial Arts Bureau. Otherwise, the Martial Arts Bureau will not recognize the legal status of your 7 Knights Villa and will not issue you a Martial Master Qualification Certificate. Martial Master Qualification Certificate. This was a very strange method that Chief Nyo thought of. As the saying goes, a new official makes 3 changes. After Chief Nyo took office, he immediately proposed a few changes to the current martial arts world. The first was the establishment of the heroic martial sect. It was supposed to promote the orthodox Chinese martial arts. But the sect leader, Nyo Shuyan, was a weirdo who practiced Japanese martial arts. The second change was to regulate the status of each sect. All sects must register with the Martial Arts Bureau. As for the old sects, a restriction order was issued. Those who did not register within a month would be disqualified and the sect would be disbanded. And the last change was to give the martial artists the so-called martial master qualification certificate. Chapter 1632. This so-called martial master qualification certificate is actually very similar to the Marvel World's hero registration method. Every Huaxia martial artist, whose strength had reached perfection, had to go to the headquarters to register their identity. If they do not have an identity, they will be regarded as an illegal martial artist and will be wanted by the Imperial Army. Then, their cultivation will be forcefully dispersed. After the registration of martial artists, they will also be subject to the country's control. Every year, martial artists will have a score. If they violate the country's laws and regulations, other than being sentenced, they will also have their points deducted according to the headquarters rules. After deducting 12 points, their qualification certificate will be cancelled and they will become an illegal martial artist. Li Fan does not know whether he should say this or not. Martial artists have superhuman strength and must be controlled. This is without a doubt. But in the headquarters rules, there is a rule that registered martial artists must unconditionally obey the country's management. This made Li Fan a little uncomfortable. As a Chinese martial artist, you should obey our headquarters orders. Bureau Chief Niu reminded Li Fan, once your qualification certificate is cancelled, I think, you should know what will happen. Are you threatening me? Li Fan slightly squinted his eyes and looked at Bureau Chief Niu on the screen. I am just reminding you. Bureau Chief Niu said, I will naturally not care what you like to do. But this time, you must obey the headquarters orders. I wonder what our dear headquarters is going to give me this time. Li Fan decided to ask first, but he felt that he had already guessed it. Tomorrow's semi-final, you must let Niu Xuyin win. Bureau Chief Niu ordered. Fake fight. You are all from the heroic martial sect, this is not fake fight. Bureau Chief Niu said very seriously, we are all from the same sect, it is not good to fight to the death. Why don't we just let Niu Xuyin win? Since it is like this, why not let me win? Li Fan looked at Bureau Chief Niu with a smile that is not a smile. Niu Xuyin is after all the sect leader of the heroic martial sect. If he wins, countless people will rush to the heroic martial sect. At that time, the prestige of the heroic martial sect will be greatly boosted, which will be very beneficial to the martial arts world and even to China. Li Fan, I have also carefully thought and researched to find this method. This is also for the good of the martial arts world. If you really understand the martial arts world, you should not say such words. Li Fan reminded him, to every martial artist, a duel is sacred. I will never agree to such a request of yours. Go find someone else. You don't know how to appreciate. The secretary couldn't help but curse, how dare you resist the leader's order? Let me emphasize again, I am not a subordinate of the headquarters. Your orders have no effect on me. Li Fan rolled his eyes, and you guys are too whimsical. Even if I admit defeat and let Niu Xuyin enter the finals, do you think he can win? At that time, Muronging will win, and will Niu competition, that. Niu. Bureau Chief Niu reminded Li Fan, moreover, this is not something you should be concerned about. This is really funny. You come over and inexplicably order me and tell me that this matter does not need my concern. Who do you think you are? My father. What? Do you feel like being a father? Do you think that everyone in the world is your son? Let me tell you, other people may be afraid of you, but I am not. Li Fan, are you really lawless? Bureau Chief Niu's voice became colder. I have always been a law-abiding citizen. Li Fan chuckled, however, according to the law, you do not have the authority to ask me to do anything. Instead, it is you who made such a rude request. It really makes people doubt your standard. Li Fan, I am advising you now. Bureau Chief Nyo became a lot stricter. He seemed to have a trace of hostility towards Li Fan. If you insist on it, you will have to bear the consequences. Fine, I want to see what the consequences will be. Li Fan disdainfully said, moreover, you are really thinking too much. Let's not talk about whether Muronging can defeat Martial Emperor Liao Ju. Even if she wins, will she admit defeat to that idiot Niu Shuyan? You have underestimated a martial artist's sense of honor. Even if Muronging dies, she will not follow your bastard's thoughts. Unable to communicate. Bureau Chief Nyo was very dissatisfied with Li Fan's attitude. Since we do not agree with each other, you will have to bear the consequences. Thank you for the reminder. The road of Jianghu is long, let's wait and see. Li Fan did not spoil this Bureau Chief Nyo at all. As the saying goes, a few mice spoil a pot of soup. It was precisely because of people like Bureau Chief Nyo that everyone became more and more disappointed with the system. The sins of Bureau Chief Nyo alone could offset the merits and efforts of people like General Ran and the others. You rejected him just like that, aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? The voice of the Holy Maiden came into his ears. Li Fan turned his head and saw the Holy Maiden wearing a black gauze dress. She was standing on the balcony with her arms crossed, looking at him and laughing. What are you afraid of? At most we will just fight. Li Fan curled his lips. The task that General Ran gave me was to participate as a disciple of the heroic martial sect. He did not have any other requirements. What Bureau Chief Nyo? He came out and gave orders. Why would I care about him? He is still the little tyrant from back then, that's why you need my help. The Holy Maiden winked at Li Fan. I reckon there is no hope for me to be the champion. To actually meet a martial emperor who practices the true immortal arts, this is really unexpected. It doesn't matter, there is me and Muronging to deal with him. Li Fan said, the list for tomorrow's finals has already been decided. I will fight with Niu Shuyan, and Muronging will deal with Martial Emperor. Aren't you worried about your fiancé? The Holy Maiden could not help but ask. She is very strong. Li Fan had never doubted that. If only I could be as strong as her, I would be able to compete with a martial emperor. Your strength has improved very quickly too. Li Fan was a little curious. How did you practice it? This is a set of demonic techniques that my sect master has improved, and it is officially named the Invincible Divine Technique. Damn it, it reminds me of Jin Yang's Invincible Divine Technique. Li Fan could not help but roll his eyes. Li Wei really knows how to copy others' words. It's different, this set of demonic techniques is very domineering. The Holy Maiden said, the speed of cultivation is extremely fast, more than 10 times that of ordinary people. However, the price is also very high, and your lifespan will be shortened by half. Damn it. You actually practice such an evil technique too. I am very weak. The Holy Maiden said, so, if I can contribute my life to the sect, I will be very happy too. This is a sick belief. Li Fan reprimanded. An unhealthy belief is a cult. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.